piece of shit.
Yeah, it actually took me
Imagine
a little
that
bit long to get
35
here.
is still under construction.
I know it was.
Dude, it's gonna remain under construction. I think what for the next 6 years. They said something like
Yeah,
that.
then the new construction
and then
starts.
then we'll have voted another construction phase.
Yeah,
in.
at that point we will either have built a 3-layer 35 or
I'm voting 7-layer. I want it to be like a beam dip. I want 7-layer 35.
that way when someone crashes off the sides they dip all 7 layers.
Yeah,
Hello,
all seven
Brooklyn. Yes,
layers.
we're here.
We're sorry we're late, Brooklyn.
That is completely on me. I forgot I double booked. I had a comic book signing I was going to go to, and it was a very tight fit to get to the show on time. So
Yeah, sorry, we were on and then we were not on because of technical reasons.
Technical and legal reasons.
it's technical and legal reasons. Okay, do we need to check audio volumes real quick?
Yeah, let's do that.
Do a quick check. I'm gonna grab a second beer because mine will be gone.
Literally, I need you to check. Like, you have to. All right, we'll just check R2, and then Hector will come back over here eventually. And
All right,
Yeah,
so
but we
here's
still
my
need
audio
you to
test. Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. My audio test 1, 2, 3.
all right, yeah, we're loud enough there. It seems. Hector, just get to the microphone.
Yeah,
and then,
no.
then
So
do
at some
whatever
point
you're
in the broadcast, I'll probably use the word penis face. And is that loud enough when I say penis
yeah, that's
face? Okay.
That's the word you need to check your levels on. Is just that
doing.
one.
Penis.
Well,
It
see,
also
you
helps
know-
with the P. The P.
Yeah, the
part-
P it pops.
That's
yeah,
true.
It's the
yeah.
popping. That's what this is for. Also,
Pops.
Stop that. Just makes a noise.
Yep.
You can hear that. I'm ASMRing them.
Oh.
Okay, I'll delete the old video off of our page.
Oh, I didn't check Facebook. I got to delete it there too.
Got it.
Ooh, smart.
Thank you for
All
deleting
right.
that.
Yep, not a problem.
So you were at E3. How'd that go? Since that's what we're gonna be talking about. I
Yeah,
guess.
pretty
Oh
much.
yeah.
Since you were there. you
Ooh,
the thing.
did you get to play any of that one they announced on Microsoft?
Did you film anybody in bathrooms?
Yeah. Did you?
You can film all the people you want in bathrooms. I mean,
Apparently at
at
E3. Yeah.
Yeah. It's completely not illegal in the state of California where E3's at.
All right, let's jump in and do this.
Oh, my headphones are over here. There we go.
Yeah, Bleeding Edge. That's the game I'm asking you about, Brooklyn. Did you get to check out any of that?
You all right?
Yeah, it's weird side pain. Just give me a second.
Give it a stretch.
Okay.
Stretch it
I
out
just need to-
this way and then that way. Let's give it a stretch.
Yeah.
Just give it a quick stretch.
There we go.
If you have any questions or anything you want us to talk about for E3 stuff, just go ahead and put it in the chat, and we'll respond to it as we get through the list.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I don't have my thing with my list.
It's all right.
My computer's over in there.
I got it.
I've got my own list. I got things to say, but we're good.
Yep.
Oh, I can totally hear you opening that like a lot. Like I can totally hear everything that's going on over there. This microphone.
She's getting wine. She deserves some. Me and
Okay,
James
well-
had wine with lunch.
Let's start recording because
I'm waiting a moment until Aaron was done with the wine box.
you're fine.
Like you're ready to go, and I'm like, no, we're waiting until Aaron is getting her wine because that's really loud for me. I can hear it.
You take your time.
I'm
getting
super
your wine.
okay with this. You're the one in a rush, man.
Oh, I have a
Slow down.
whole diatribe about that Brooklyn.
I totally
Believe
forgot
you
about
me.
Shenmue.
Oh, it is. There are issues.
Yeah.
There are issues. I don't know if you heard this. I'll say it again on the show, but so Shenmue 3 announced that it's an Epic exclusive. When they launched their Kickstarter or whichever platform they launched on,
Yeah, and
they
it was gonna be on
said
everything.
consoles and Steam specifically.
Right.
So now that they announced it Epic exclusive, not only did they literally not like it wasn't implied, they literally switched providers on the people who backed the game, but the ones asking for refunds are getting radio silence.
Wow, that's
They
crazy.
need to give them refunds because a lot of people do not want to go with Steam or not,
Or,
sorry,
Epic,
Epic.
yeah.
They'd rather have it on Steam or literally anybody other than Epic.
But we'll say all this again.
They're like, put it on Battle.net. We don't fucking care. Put it on anything that's not Epic.
Yeah.
You just put it on the Microsoft Game Pass for PC.
They're getting everybody at this point.
They got well, we should do this in the show.
Yeah. Do we have the backwards compatibility thing in there? Because that was very much overshadowed by everything else.
I don't have that in here, but we can insert it when we get there.
Okay. I'll try to remember because...
Wait, with the
Quick overview, they stopped backwards... they did one last launch of backwards compatibility,
And now
and
they're
everybody
done.
was like... Because we're like, we're done.
We're moving-
because
'cause we're working on the next console.
We're making sure that all these are compatible with the next console.
Right.
And everybody's like, they're stopping backwards compatibility. Like, no, we're putting backwards compatibility in the next console. You shitheads.
All I'm gonna say is look up a trailer for Priest Simulator.
Yeah, it's so good.
No.
You really want to see it.
It sounds like I really don't.
You-
like the name
you of
alone.
all
It
people
looks
would
like it
love
was
it.
created with the assets of like Postal 2.
It probably was.
Yeah, I'm sure someone pisses on.
I don't want to play Kitty Toucher 3000.
All right, let's jump in. E3 is at an end, and we have so many feelings. Adventures, throw on your power gloves for an all-new episode.
I think I want to have you do that one again.
Okay.
I just enunciate at an end.
Okay.
It just
At an end.
because it's so
Sounded like one
alliterated,
word.
it just turned into one word.
Sure, I get
Yeah,
that.
I can actually see that's that one word.
Right. Okay.
So,
We'll give it one more go.
yeah. It was good though. I just that one part.
E3 is at an end, and we have so many feelings. Adventurers, throw on your power gloves for an all-new episode.
Much better. Yeah. Now you can see that it differentiates between
At an
words.
end.
Awesome.
Yeah. It just makes for better audio.
It
Yeah.
does. Yeah, that's fine.
That's the point of directing this shit. Every now and then we're like, nope, fix it.
Greetings, adventurers, and welcome to the show. We are the Surly Nerd, your one-stop shop for geek news that might have flown under your radar over the last week. I'm your host, James, and sitting across from me is the producer of this fine show, Tony.
E3.
And with us, as always, and returning to his chair is our third chair host, Hector.
Keanu.
Oh, so good.
If you are new to our show, welcome. What an episode you've chosen to join us for. This is our annual E3 blowout episode, and it's going to be crazy. So don't forget that you can keep connected with us through thesurlynerd.com. You can follow us on all social media platforms and even donate to the show. Every penny donated goes right back into the show that we make for you every week. With all that out of the way, ladies and gentlemen, adventurers of all ages, it's time for E3 2019.
Woo.
I like that your hype for E3 2019 got about as much as reaction as most of the things shown at E3 2019. Just one person going, "Yay! I want that a little bit."
Yeah.
E3 2019.
All right, adventurers, let's jump in. On Saturday, EA did their whole thing outside of E3 proper.
Yeah, they like showed up in a parking lot.
They didn't
with
even
some
get.
games.
I didn't get an announcement. I didn't know it was happening. You guys told me about it.
Nobody knew
but
it was
that just
happening.
happened.
They
Yeah.
legit showed up in a parking lot, threw down some fucking Xboxes and some screens, and said, "Come hang out with us."
Yeah.
And that was their
You
entire
guys
thing.
want to see the Jedi game? We got.
Do you want
Jedi
to
game in
see?
this tent.
Do you want to
Yeah.
see some things that aren't Anthem?
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. Like if
Literally everything that's not Anthem.
if a guy with like an EA shirt was like, "Come on in this tent, we're doing a thing," I'd be like, "No, sir."
Okay,
no,
so
sir.
we do have a couple good things to talk
See
about
my
here.
video games.
They did show Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes,
Yeah?
they did. They showed us 15 minutes of in-game play about 3 hours into the game.
Right.
And, oh, fuck, I really want to play that game.
It looks super cool. Not gonna
It
lie.
does. Like, I'm just waiting. When is it going to be canceled?
Right.
Like, I want to play this Star Wars game.
I mean,
it's going to be canceled.
Any day now.
Yeah,
But,
it has to be.
Nope, no, you got it wrong. They've already sacrificed 2 Star Wars games to make this Star Wars game, so now that they've already got the blood in there, it's good to go.
They're doing-
Yeah.
they're doing video game blood magic.
Yeah,
Maybe
you just
they're
have to-
doing
yeah.
iterations. Did anyone watch I Am Mother yet?
No, no.
Okay,
it's-
never
it's-
mind then. Don't remember that joke.
So Jedi's Fallen Order takes place between episodes 3 and 4.
Yep, it's an in-canon game.
Around a Rogue One era-esque.
Yeah.
It's done by Respawn, the guys who do Titanfall, who did Apex. You can definitely tell because there's lots of wall running.
Oh yeah. Jedi Wall.
Not as much running as Dying Light 2, but okay.
Looks like a lot of fun. Super excited about it. Love the new power they're going with in the game, which is the kind of freeze time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, we'd never seen that in the movies before. We'd never had it in a video game.
We
before.
saw it at
We
the
saw it
very
in
beginning.
of the original film. We never saw it in any of the first 6 movies.
You are correct.
Yeah,
About that, yeah.
and so it was like a new power. Like, oh shit, that's cool. And now they're putting it in the video games, which is cool. Favorite part was the freezing time, taking the dude who shot the bullet, putting him in front of the bullet, and then killing him with his own gun shot.
Yeah.
That was literally the best moment of
If
it.
they really let you like Rube Goldberg this out, like I would really love that.
Just like really complex,
Yeah.
like intricate ways
It's
of
like,
killing
Okay, so
stormtroopers.
Fire Guy's gonna set that guy on fire. That guy in his panicked on fire mode is gonna shoot his blaster, and when he does, I'm gonna halt the bolt and take the third guy and put him in front of it.
This is gonna
I'm
be good
gonna
stuff.
force push them all.
Give them some more ideas. This sounds like really
Yeah, like,
fantastic.
I would play this game.
Unfortunately, it's
I would like
probably
to
not
let you.
gonna be that good.
I'd like to let you know there's a game already kind of like that called Force Unleashed 1 and 2, where you can do ridiculous shit like that.
Well, here's the thing. This reminded me less of the Force Unleashed, which actually reminded me more of God of War. This reminded me of the Jedi Knight games, the Kyle Katarn games, Jedi Knight 2 specifically, and Jedi Outcast, the third one.
See, for me, the powers really reminded me of fucking the
Force Unleashed.
Force Unleashed.
Yeah.
Because it just seems like he's very powerful versus everything we've seen in any of the movies ever.
Right, yeah, that Star Killer vibe. Yeah,
That's what I'm getting out of this. I'm like,
I don't think
he's
they're going
just
to
a
go full Star
Padawan
Killer,
who's-
though.
I hope they don't, because I mean the thing that they did, the thing that made it so ridiculous in The Force Unleashed is you have this Jedi and you're like, cool, and he could be good or he could be bad, but he also pulled a Star Destroyer out of the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't mean like not a TIE fighter. He pulled a Star Destroyer out of the sky in one of the
Something that
trailers.
houses millions of people.
Yeah, it is a city. It is a flying city, and you just like yoink, and
It's the ultimate Star Wars power fantasy, but I don't think that that's what we're going to be getting with this new
Yeah.
Star Wars.
No, this one, I think that he does have a lot of power in it, and that's because he's a ginger, and gingers have no souls, so they can more effectively use the Force.
so he's a Sith.
Yes.
Now, that being said, there is going to be no Sith campaign in this. You are straight playing a Jedi
Okay.
because it's in canon. You're
Right.
only playing a Jedi. You're only playing the singular.
Yeah, when I saw Forrest Whitaker, I was like, "Whoa, they're doing like a whole thing
Yes,
with the
yes,
canon
yeah.
and whatnot."
So EA, it wasn't really that great for most people, but there was a couple highlights. Apex Legends debuted a new hero who seems way broke as shit, and they're gonna they're gonna put ranked mode in.
It makes sense.
That's
yeah,
a big
I mean,
part of it.
New characters, like I have to look at Apex kind of the way I say look at Overwatch. New characters are going to come out,
Yep.
and the ranking system has to eventually get into a good place so they can
Yeah.
go into actual competitive mode.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Of course, there was a bunch of FIFA stuff that was shown.
Okay.
There was
Snore.
there was a giant section on The Sims 4 and their
Okay.
upcoming expansions.
Does anyone actually play The Sims?
A
I'm
lot
sure
of people
a
play
lot
them.
of people
If
do,
they're
or
still
else they
trying-
wouldn't keep making them.
I don't know a single person
not
that
for
hasn't
us.
played The Sims in like 12 years.
Okay, so we're already in our 30s, right?
Yeah.
So either like 20 or 40-year-old moms are playing The Sims, and like all of them.
say-
So there's a lot of people.
I say girls in their 30s do not play The Sims. They play Pokemon Go.
You know, like two girls.
I've met a lot of girls in their 30s recently. Thank you very much.
So Battlefield 5, there's a lot more content coming around the corner for that. Bunch of
Okay.
new maps. That's their new seasonal stuff that's coming up.
Yeah.
People loving the Battlefield 5 and all its updates.
It's not a bad. It's you know what? If your computer can run it smoothly, then more power to you. And it's not a bad game. I just I got pretty sick of it after a while.
There
There's
was
so many times you can shoot people in the face and not
There's
get really
a lot
bored.
of stuff, of course, about Madden. And Madden gets a big section every year. I did actually want to bring up Madden for a very specific reason. Even though Madden's not a game that I play personally, it was really cool watching the EA press conference when they said that this year, with the new Madden, they're going to start updating player stats in real time. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
right.
That's
Okay,
really
so
cool.
so we had this conversation a little bit on Sunday, but the idea that they're updating stats as the games like go live or finish or whatever they're doing.
it's after they finish or something.
Right, yeah. I mean, the game takes like 5 hours to play because it's American football on television.
Yeah.
Even though it's like a 40-minute game, but so
I never understood that.
Well, once it's commercials, once the game is over, they update the stats. So imagine like the kind of really hardcore fantasy football leagues we have, and if every game updates the stats and you're playing the same roster on your game of Madden, imagine the predictive calculations you can do when every person in the game has updated stats and it's getting closer and closer to real life. And that's not even like that's not a joke the way it would have been 10 years ago. These characters move like they're players.
Oh yeah, this new version of Madden. This new version of Madden was talking about essentially adding like not superpowers to
Right.
the players, but giving them bonus skills based on what their real life attributes are.
Exactly. So when you have something like that and you can really like take your updated stats like day after football, you're like, okay, so I know next week the Broncos play the Pirates, whatever sports names, and
Insert sports names.
So you start
Pirates are
playing
not
them
a
against each
football
other and
team.
running different plays, the plays they're most likely to play because you're a fucking fantasy football nerd and you know these things. Then at this point,
You get to adjust your fantasy football roster based on these simulated games that you're making on Madden.
exactly, that you're literally just playing on Madden.
Yeah,
This is the spurgiest thing I've ever heard in my life. And you know what? If fantasy football gets really into this, I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah.
I've been trying to convince those people that they're D&D nerds for years, and now they'll know.
Exactly. Okay, so I think that about wraps up everything we need to talk about for EA. Let's jump over to Ubisoft. It was an interesting show. We opened up with like Watch Dogs Legion. This game fascinated me more probably than I would have liked.
Yeah.
I played about 10 minutes of the original Watch Dogs, said this game is shit, and never bothered playing another one.
Yeah, Watch Dogs was bad. It was a mediocre open world game in a time of really good... Like, I think Far Cry 3 had just come out. So you had like a really great Ubisoft open world game, and then Watch Dogs had such an incredible E3 trailer, and then it came out huge graphical...
the story premise for Watch Dogs is
cool.
a really cool idea.
Yeah, so it had a huge graphical downgrade. We got a second one. The second one was a little more hip, a little more like in with the kids, but it's still a very boring game.
Yeah.
What I saw at E3 of Watch Dogs Legion not only super intrigued me, but I kept looking into it. I read an article today actually that said that the Watch Dogs Legion demo was the best E3 demo the guy had played in like 10 years.
Wow, that's impressive.
Just in terms of like...
I know at least 3 places have said that the best thing of E3 this year was the Watch Dog demo. And the best thing they've ever played at E3 was the Watch Dog demo, or Watch Dog Legion demo.
Yeah.
Right.
Specifically, not the original.
Yeah.
Just to clarify that.
Yeah.
The fact
but
that it
like
seems
multiple people have played it and said this is the best game that's ever come out of here.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal
Yeah, that's
and weird
absolutely
that
insane.
everybody's agreed that this is the best thing.
The big deal about it is it seems to be living up to what they're saying. They're saying, like, you can play as every character in the game. Yes. Like, that's an actual thing. That
No,
they
like
programmed
literally
into
every
it.
character, however they're doing it, they're probably
Yeah.
procedurally generated, however they do it. You see an NPC walking down the street and you walk over and you do whatever you can to recruit them. And now that NPC, whatever attributes they started with, are in your are part of your gang. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm down with it. It looks really good. They showed off a new game called Gods and Monsters. It was this kind of almost
Showed it off. I used air quotes.
Yes,
Radio.
very briefly. It was a very brief trailer that they showed off. Kind of looked like Zelda Breath of the Wild or something along those lines. Let's see here.
Oh, the Assassin's Creed Quest creator.
Oh, right. Yeah, they did talk about that.
Where they
neat.
screwed with their audience. If you read the text,
Oh
in
yeah.
it,
No, they were memeing the text
Yeah, they were
because
memeing
they
the text.
know that this is a live action meme generator.
Yeah.
They know it.
That's all it is. It's cool that they made level generator or level creator thing for Assassin's Creed. No, you just made live action meme maker. That's all you did.
But outside of that, think about all the kids who want to like get into programming or game making or dungeon creation or whatever they're gonna do, and they really get to like put quests together and decide what works and what doesn't.
That
and
is
what
something
doesn't.
that I absolutely love that they're doing this for. While
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed isn't something that I give a shit about,
Right.
But whenever companies do this, whenever Halo put in their when their map creator and then gave out the PC version so people could make even more
Right.
intricate versions of their maps,
So I think
and then you get people coming out with this where they're going like for free, we're gonna let you make stuff for us.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's what we have with Assassin's Creed as a franchise. We have a huge chunk of Notre Dame burned down, immaculately recreated online from the Assassin's Creed Liberation, the two games ago. You have this one, which not only has this quest creator, but also has, and this started with the Egyptian one, historical tours of landmarks. They're just quests that are put in the game as educational material where you follow someone around. They tell you about the history of the place, ancient Greece, ancient Egypt, and they'll give you a quiz afterwards if you want to take it. We're looking at Assassin's Creed right now, I am, as a piece of software that is much better than just a video game.
No, I've been saying for years
The
that
video game part is the lesser part of everything else they're doing.
Yeah, no, the Assassin's Creed games, one of the reasons why I said I never liked them was because I learned all of that in art history. And that was the problem. I had already learned those things, but it was interesting having my friends playing these games who are like, oh my god, this family in Italy, they did all this shit. And I'm like, yeah, cool story, bro. I knew about that years ago, but I'm glad that you're finally getting that inside a video game. It's cool for you, but maybe study as well.
Well, right, okay, but not everyone has access to good education, first of all. And second of all, not everyone's interest is art history until it gets put in the context of something interactive.
Yeah, whenever you're learning about the Medicis, it's very boring unless somebody actually sits down and be like, by the way, these motherfuckers
Exactly.
killed everybody and bankrolled everybody at the same time. It was fucking weird
Yeah,
times.
the Assassin's Creed stuff's really fascinating. I'm interested to see what people are going to come up with for level creators on that. There's a bunch of
Memes,
stuff
just so many memes.
at the Ubisoft ones. There was a roller derby Rocket League game.
Yeah.
How does that work?
That looked fun. I watched a little bit of because they released like a short-term alpha style demo for some people on Twitch, and I watched some of the gameplay, and it looks fun. It doesn't have the urgency that I feel when I play Rocket League, but I think it could if there were a lot of people who are really good at the gameplay.
So
Right.
I watch a lot of
it's
amateur
still
play.
Rocket League, but now you're playing roller derby instead of
So
soccer.
you're,
So it's
you're
not
on
right-
skates in a circular arena, right? Think NASCAR, just circle, circle.
Okay, but you're a
circle,
car?
circle. No, you're a human on roller.
Oh, you're a
skates.
people now.
Yes.
You're
You're
a
a people.
people on roller skates,
Okay, you're a
and
people.
you have a ball, and you can tackle other people and take the ball, but you have to. Your team, it's 2 teams, orange versus blue,
Okay.
and you have to hold the ball for a certain amount of time before
Yeah.
you can score a goal, and then there's
Yeah,
one
it's very
goal
similar to
on the-
actual roller derby
Yes.
rules.
Right, exactly.
Why
So,
didn't they do it as cars? It would be way more fun. I
but-
mean, they did car soccer, so
Because
car roller
car-
derby.
well,
This is
Because
not the
car
same
tackle
studio.
isn't
This is a
fun.
different studio. This is not
Oh,
the Rocket.
so it's not
whole-
made by
it's
Rocket
not
League.
made by
Psyonix.
Oh, see, I thought this was Rocket League making a new thing,
No, no,
and
no,
that's
no.
reason like, what? There's people now.
No.
There shouldn't be
it's
people. in
Ubisoft doing their own thing.
Oh,
but it-
sorry, you confused me there because I didn't see this part.
It looked really interesting, and I'd love to see it gain some ground. I'm not sure it will. It's not out yet.
Okay.
We'll see
But
what
we
happens.
also thought that about Rocket League when it came out.
Good
so who
point.
knows?
And Rocket League is amazing.
Just a couple quick fires. There's
So
of
dumb, but
course
so
they
fun.
showed off a new Rainbow Six Quarantine. They showed off a mobile strategy game called Tom Clancy's Elite Squad, where they take different Tom Clancy
Can we
groups
just
and put
can we
them
just
together.
address like we're
I feel
gonna
like
be
they showed off like 6 Ghost Recon games.
It really felt like that. We found out that they're doing an Adventure Time crossover with I think
Brawlhalla.
Brawlhalla, that's right. Let's see here. The crew behind It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia are working with Ubisoft on a TV comedy for Apple TV about video game development and being like the head programmer or something at a video game
For
studio.
anyone who cares about that, Ashley Birch is one of their head writers. She was Ash from Hey Ash What You Playing, and she was the voice of Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah.
And Tiny Tina in Borderlands.
There you go. Let's see here. John Bernthal came out to talk about Ghost Recon, brought his dog on stage. That
Yeah.
was fun.
I like the dog.
So
bring
let's
your dog to work day.
let's
Is
talk.
he- how is he going to compete with Keanu Reeves? He might as well bring his dog.
Yeah,
So
better be
before,
a real
before we
fucking
can
cute
close out
dog.
Ubisoft, let's talk about the dirty thing here. and that is-
Wait. So you play, right?
But that's our next.
Oh,
big-
okay,
That's the
okay,
big
okay.
thing. We got to talk about UPlay Plus. So this felt like the year of subscription services.
It is.
All right.
I mean, we knew where this is going. Like,
I'm
Industry's been
frankly,
going down
I'm
this
glad
road.
it's going here. I'm here for it.
yeah,
Ubisoft is launching UPlay Plus, $15 a month. Gets you over 100 Ubisoft games and all their DLC. They say that it will have early access games and it will have new releases. They specifically cited Watch Dogs Legion will be part of this.
Yeah.
So that's a part of it, and the UPlay Plus will be available on Google Stadia. Those are the
Okay.
highlight items.
that's really cool. Google. We eventually we have to talk about Google
We will
Stadia.
toward the
'cause
end, yes.
They got some
yeah.
contracts this year.
And look, if anyone was gonna back Google Stadia, it's Yves Guillemot. His French name.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah, the CEO, something like CEO of Ubisoft. Like he is always looking for like the weirdest, most futury thing he can find, and this is one of them. So this doesn't surprise me at all.
yeah. As
So
for
are you mad at UPlay? Because I'm always
Not
that
at all.
person that whenever I go to load up a game on like my PC and it's like sign into UPlay, and I'm like, go fuck yourself.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't like using Uplay. I got used to it because I played plenty of Rainbow Six and plenty of For Honor. But it was kind of the first of my additional platforms when Steam was the only platform.
Right.
There was a point in time where when you bought, I think it was Assassin's Creed Black Flag was the first one, where when you bought that game and you'd hit start.
yeah, it
It
required
opened
you
Uplay and
yeah.
then started the game,
Right.
and it was like fuck you. So
Even
yeah,
installing like Far Cry 4 on my PlayStation 4, it was like sign into UPlay, please, and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, bro.
So
bro.
I just, I'd rather it not be there. And Uplay is a pretty big offender in the way that they treat Uplay versus other platforms. Like they won't let you bypass Uplay at all.
Right.
So it's annoying. But Ubisoft makes at least one game I want to play a year, so I'm not like.
I was going to
super
say, does
angry at them.
Ubisoft have a big enough library to support a $15 a month platform?
I think it's better than EA's. I think it's a lot better.
It's
than
better
EA's.
than EA's. It's better than honestly the Epic Store at this point. Still,
Yeah. No lie.
I can't be bothered. Not in a world where Microsoft announced their their modified larger
Right.
subscription.
And we'll get
I'm
to
just
that.
like- and we're gonna get to that. So like
But-
in that world, I can't justify
Right. Well, think about-
one company. This is
Well, let's try and think about a different consumer. Let's think about someone who's like never played an Assassin's Creed before,
Okay.
and likes military shooters, but always played the Call of Duties and never got into the Ghost Recons of the world, or even the Far Cries or anything like that. That Uplay Pass is, you can go back a long way in Ubisoft games and find some games really, really worth replaying. So if you go all the way back to Far Cry 3 and like even Assassin's Creed 3 or 4,
Yeah.
I know 4 would be Black Flag. If you go even just back that far and move forward in the library, you're talking about maybe thousands of hours. Worth
Yeah,
of
there's
gaming
the
in.
library is good,
It's a
but
good
it's
library.
very specific. It's
It is very
the way I considered it was CBS is doing CBS
Mm-hmm.
Access or whatever, and requires you a separate subscription away from Amazon or Hulu or Netflix,
Right.
because they want you to buy into their one little thing. Unfortunately, much like also the DC streaming service, you don't have enough content there for me to want to buy into your little world.
Right.
I like my bigger world that has many people in it with many different types of games and not just the Assassin's Creed franchise.
So I think the big thing, if you're gonna get a Uplay Pass, be prepared to climb some towers.
Exactly.
Ubisoft literally invented the tower climbing open world mechanic, which is so pervasive in every
So
open
what
world
you're
game
saying
to
is that
this
you're
day.
waiting for Ubisoft's like climb tower simulator.
I mean, they have
And then they can do the
thousands
tower
of climb tower
creator
simulators.
makers, so you can make the towers for people to climb.
Right, if you play through the Assassin's Creed franchise and then through Far Cry and then through like Watch Dogs, you're going to be climbing like 10,000 towers.
Hard. You're giving me like a lot of reasons to say no.
Yeah, no. This
Hard
is not
no.
for a Tony. This
All
is
right,
for someone else.
gentlemen, it's that time. Let's jump into Bethesda.
Do we have to?
Okay, so
I mean,
before we start talking
Do
about
we
the
have
games,
to?
I have to say that the first thing that happened, we're in a world post Fallout 76, post
Yes.
all of the drama of Fallout 76. And please, before I start, let us not forget that the canvas bag thing, which I am bringing up again because they promised canvas bags to the nylon bag holders saying, look, we're sorry, our bad, we'll get you those bags.
in 6 months you'll have those bags.
They still don't have those
Okay, they
bags.
did get notices about the bag.
Not a single person has a bag.
They haven't got the
It has
bag yet,
been a year.
but they did finally get a notice about the bags were coming soon.
Yeah,
So-
no, they're shipping them soon, and we'll see
Right.
if they are better quality.
So
At this point,
this is the
they
setup.
better be the blowjob of fucking bags.
Here I go. This is my setup. Todd Howard came out, made a not even really self-deprecating joke about the state of Bethesda as a company in the eyes of consumers, and then proceeded to sell us Fallout 76 Battle Royale. I wrote this
52
down.
player battle royale, by the way, which doesn't
Yeah,
make
it
any
doesn't
fucking
make any
sense
sense.
because battle royale is either 99 or maybe in the case of Fallout 76, 70 fucking 6 people.
Right. And Todd Howard, and you mentioned like 2 weeks
Ugh,
ago,
still
he had a
fucking angers
really
me.
bad interview that was really disingenuous and was full of shit.
Yep.
So
Because he's full of shit at this point. I can't trust a single word he says.
So, so here on this podcast, I have to say fuck Todd Howard. I have to say seriously, at least fucking 2K had the decency to ban Randy Pitchford from E3. You didn't see him anywhere. You saw other people come out and talk about Borderlands 3 because no one wants to see Randy Pitchford's
Randy's not
stupid
allowed to
face.
be on television or tweet or do
Exactly.
anything.
He didn't run around making jokes like the world's most enthusiastic personal gravedigger. And by personal, I mean for himself. Bethesda, they put Todd Howard on stage, and he made a joke. Todd Howard doesn't get to make jokes about this. Todd Howard is the joke about this. Stop putting him on stage. We all hate him now. Period.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
and I
helium
mean-
voice is gotta go. Like,
And
I've
Brooklyn
gotten
brings
honest.
up a good point in chat. Like some of the things that they said during their conference, like we invented first-person shooters with Doom.
Oh yeah, that was Bethesda. That
Yeah.
wasn't fucking
That wasn't
John.
that wasn't id Software coming
id
out.
Software.
No, you're a publisher for id Software. You're not id Software. You didn't invent the first person shooter. You just
Right.
happened to put out the games from the people who invented it. Like
Right.
And even
So-
at
so-
that point in time, you didn't put that game out.
Yeah.
Right. So we can. I'm not sure what you're planning to talk about with Bethesda as far as titles go, but they showed Fallout 76, 3 mobile games in a row, and then we got other games.
Sure. Now there was a lot there
So
to
many
really
fucking mobile
unpack
games.
because there was some cool stuff that we saw during this press conference. None of it. And so here's the thing I'm reading about on the internet and from people who have spoken with us personally about this is that they're like, "Oh, the Bethesda show was really, really good." And I'll
No, it
say,
wasn't.
and I'll
No, it
say,
wasn't.
and then I say to them, "What part of it did you like? And the answer that I'm getting consecutively across the communities online is that everything they loved about the Bethesda press conference had nothing to do with Bethesda.
Right.
What we said while we were watching it, actually live, our immediate reaction to every game was, why the fuck are you doing this? Oh, cool, but not made by Bethesda.
Right. They have Shinji Mikami's studio doing this really cool game called Ghostwire Tokyo, in which, on stage, Shinji Mikami, the grandfather of survival horror, literally passed the keys of creating survival horror going forward to somebody else.
Yep.
And said, "This is the future of survival horror. This girl is going to be what's going to create the next great."
She's the new game director. Deal with it.
That's not Bethesda. There was an Arcane Studios game called Deathloop that's all about dying and coming
looked awesome.
back.
That looked awesome.
Not Bethesda. Doom Eternal, big part of it. Doom was amazing. Love it.
They're changing QuakeCon to DoomCon for this year because of
how awesome Doom is.
Right. Guess what?
Not
Doom.
bad.
Not Bethesda.
Not
Everything
Bethesda.
that you enjoyed about that conference had nothing to do with Bethesda.
Let's not forget the expansion announcement for Rage 2.
Right.
Again, not Bethesda.
Not Bethesda.
Not Bethesda. Let's point out the fact that when Bethesda said, we are bringing back a beloved property, an old school PC property in Commander Keen, they then took that property, put it on stage. Todd Howard pulled down his pants and shit all over it and said, it's a free-to-play mobile game.
Don't you have phones?
Don't you guys have phones?
Come on, man! It's not like everybody's obsessed with Commander Keen, but it's an original PC game.
It has some childhood memories attached to it for people. But at the same time, people's childhood memories aren't on the shitter playing it on their phone.
There was all this Elder Scrolls Blades stuff. And the biggest, most offensive thing about Elder Scrolls Blades is when they said that it was coming to the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, eat so many things that you don't appreciate. Eat them all.
Because it's already very well known that Elder Scrolls Blades is not kind to the consumers that play it.
Oh, no.
Its monetization model is horrible.
It's a very predatory game.
It's a very predatory game. And to put that on a Switch where people have ready access to it is fucking offensive to me.
Let's not forget last year Todd Howard saying Elder Scrolls Blades was a full Elder Scrolls game.
Oh, I would like to, in Bethesda's defense, there was 100% less live music on stage. So,
you know what? I didn't mind Party Song over Rage 2 last year. I thought that was appropriate.
It was fun.
Oh, God, you just reminded me of something. I hate to rewind it to what we were just talking about, but this is one of the more fucked up things that did happen in the Ubisoft conference. And this blew my fucking mind. In the Ubisoft conference, they showed Just Dance.
Yeah.
But they announced this new Just Dance is coming to the Wii.
Yep. You know what? You can put Just Dance on literally fucking anything.
Right, but the fact
that have a camera,
it's like
you're done.
They're the only developer that's like, yeah, that Wii was doing really well for us. We should keep doing that.
I wonder if someone was just how much would it take to port this to the Wii? It's like the Wii is just this hardware and this hardware. Boom, boom, boom. There, now it's on the Wii.
I think that maybe
ship it. There's still 800,000 people.
I think that they're going through after. There's a lot of old age homes that still have their Wiis, and they still need to get the old people up and dancing and moving. Yeah. And it's the Richard Simmons of video games.
I'm not mad about it. I just think it's funny.
He gets the old people up and moving around to songs they don't understand and don't like.
Yeah.
But you know what? At least they're getting people off their asses and moving.
It does. And there's a whole Twitch community, by the way, that makes its fucking rent money wearing yoga pants and playing Just Dance. And I appreciate that.
By Twitch community, I mean there's 7 really hot girls that like to play Just Dance.
Actually, there's 100 really hot girls.
It's also
doing
Tony.
This.
Don't let him lie to you. I know that he gets on Twitch and shakes his booty, all right?
Okay, you don't know how comfortable yoga pants are.
They are super comfortable.
You just got to dress to the right.
I'm wearing 12 pairs right now. All right.
That's 11 pairs too many.
We got through Bethesda, and my God, did we need a palate cleanser after that?
Oh, yes, we did.
And we were given one in the form of Devolver Digital.
So I have notes for every conference on here.
Devolver Digital didn't even show off all of their games during
confirm
that.
this.
By the way.
I have paragraphs for all the conferences. My note for the Devolver conference is literally just a smiley face.
Yes, that's it.
Yep, it's just a smiley face. Because that's...
There's not a whole lot we could talk about in here because they were just doing an indie showcase.
There were a couple of games, and the joke one is a real game. The Devolver
where they made
they made shitty versions of all their knockoff versions of all the games. That's a real game.
Yeah,
you can play it today.
You can go go in Steam, buy the thing that allows you access to then get the games
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I just
that are
want
the
to say,
knockoffs of the games that they've already created.
I want to say Nina
And other
is
people
my
have created.
favorite, like, forever and all time. And I can't wait till next year to see part 4 of the Devolver Digital saga.
Yeah, no, we had the opening of RoboCop. This year was RoboCop essentially, and next year's Terminator.
And it was the change from stage show to direct show.
Yes.
That was the meta commentary, which was actually really fucking brilliant.
Yeah, no, and everything that they showed were some really fun, interesting games. And I found out afterwards they didn't even show they have even more games that are coming
way
out
more.
because I follow the Texas film initiative, and that video games are part of that. And they're like, by the way, Devolver Digital and this game company in Austin, check them out. Here's this new spaghetti western game that they're coming out with. I was like, cool. They didn't even show that at E3.
No,
and it's
they
like coming.
They didn't show a lot of stuff. They showed Carrion, which I cannot
Carrion
wait to
looks
play.
so. I want to play Carrion. Like ever since I first saw like a GIF of this monster running around eating you, I was like, I want to play that.
Yeah, and they showed My Friend Pedro, which comes out in like 8 days or something.
Yes,
and
I would
can't
like
wait
to play.
it.
I would also like to play Deadpool, the not Deadpool.
I did
game.
want to play. I did want to see more on Metal Wolf Chaos. They showed that
Yeah.
last year, and I really wanted to see more about that since it's such an absolutely batshit title.
Yeah.
Devolver Digital they're a publisher that picks up really eccentric titles, and they make their show all about that. And in their show, all they would do is make fun of the video game industry, and it's brilliant.
It really is, because all they're doing is publishing interesting indie titles.
Because they are a
That's how
publisher.
yeah.
They know that they are a publisher. They're
Yeah.
not the ones making the games. They're just one finding interesting games and then giving them to you.
And that's how they're making their money. And it's such an awesome thing for the community. And you know what? If they came out every year on stage, showed off a bunch of indie games and says, look at all this fucking creative talent. Everyone celebrate this. They might come off a little pompous.
Yeah.
So like coming out being hyper meta and predatory is like the best move they can make. Whoever
it's
is in
the
charge
satirization
of PR,
of the industry that it needs to be there.
whoever's in charge of PR for Devolver Digital is an incredibly brilliant human being.
Also,
and
if
they
you
are
watch-
the hero. We
I
need
highly
right
suggest
now.
everybody go back and watch the last 3 Devolver Digital specials that they put out. But also stick around for the credits.
Yeah.
Because the credits are fucking hilarious.
They are.
And once you start reading the jobs and what the person's name is so good. And they've
Oh,
done
yeah.
it every single year.
Yeah, Hotline Milwaukee.
Okay, so Devolver Digital was fantastic.
It was.
Before
Catsylvania was really good.
getting-
I really want to play Catsylvania.
we're getting really close to the big stuff to talk about here.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and jump into Square Enix, though.
Yeah.
So, what a complicated show Square Enix had.
No fucking kidding.
So, obviously, it starts off big. We start with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Everybody collectively loses their shit. But nobody's talking about the details of this. I feel like this is what's being overlooked. Because what we have is a release date for Final Fantasy VII, the remake.
Yeah.
But-
or the first part of Final Fantasy.
Right,
the
but that's
remake.
the part that nobody's talking about.
Right, it's not like when people...
Everybody thinks they're getting the full game come
No,
3-3.
No, that's the opposite of what's going on. Everyone thinks it's an episodic game. Square has released episodic games before. It
I
was
thought they
called-
said there was an episode.
Life is
game.
Strange.
They did, and it's
Yeah.
a bad way to advertise it because of what people are saying at the conference. They've released Hitman. It was an episodic game. You got basically one level at a time over several months. You could buy them individually or as a package bundle.
Okay, neat.
What I'm hearing from Final Fantasy is that part 1 of Final Fantasy VII Remake is an entire fucking game.
Okay.
And part 2 of Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is not entirely in development yet, is an entire fucking game. So, like, they're making a whole game, and they're
And they
making a
have-
whole other game that's just Final Fantasy VII Remake.
And they have no idea when it's going to be launched,
Nope.
what the timeline on this is, how much it's going to cost. We know that they're putting out like a $200 collector's edition for it. You know,
Of course, I mean, everybody's putting out a $200
think about
collector's
this.
edition.
This is the grand fucking strategy right here. This is the money maker. If you're taking a $60 game and have managed to put out 12 $60 games out of your original $60 game,
Yeah.
man, that's some business you
and,
got going
and,
on.
like,
you know
Think
what's
about-
fun is you can pre-order all of them now and give them the money, and then they don't have to make anything for like 5 or 6 years.
and this feels like
And then
a-
maybe it never comes out and you forget, and they just keep your money the entire time.
And it feels like a remake in the absolute truest sense.
It does. It's beautiful.
Feels like
Oh yeah,
they
that is
took-
not the original pixelated,
No, of course not.
crappy fucking
Yeah,
8-bit
they-
or 16-bit chibi version
It
of
feels like
everything.
they literally used 0% of the assets from the first game to make this
They,
game.
they couldn't.
So
And
imagine
also, that
making a
code's
game,
gone.
and then 20 years later, taking all the same storyboards and concepts and writers and making the game again. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah.
And it seems so much bigger. Okay, well, the first Final Fantasy VII was on like 4 DVDs?
Four
Four
CDs.
4 CDs.
So it would have been on
That's-
two.
that's like
It would have been on 2 DVDs at that point.
Yeah, so what is that, like, not even 3 gigs, 4 CDs?
Yeah, no, that's
even-
750 megs times 4. whatever
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is.
yeah. So it's not 3 gigs. And so a Blu-ray, double-sided, was what, 40 gigs?
Yeah.
And they're saying there are 2 Blu-rays worth of material, easily,
Yeah.
for what's going on.
That's like 140 gigs worth of shit.
Yeah.
That is a lot. And I get that, like, graphical power of making that game,
and-
now you need
and-
to have a lot
right,
more
and so-
space.
so what
Those
we're
4K
seeing-
assets
Right.
are a huge amount of that space is just
But what-
just texture packs for 4K.
But
Yeah.
what we're seeing here is that you were saying that it's a remake in the truest sense.
Right, they're remaking
What
the
they've
game.
done is they've created a combat system that is for everyone.
Yeah.
It is a blend, from what I can tell, of the Parasite Eve system and like the Final Fantasy 15 system.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like.
Yeah, and everything about that is perfect to me. Like I'm here for it. It looks like fun. I just don't want people to get their hopes up that they're
Yeah.
because Chapter 1 is Midgar, and Chapter 1 might be all we get for another 2 years.
Yeah,
like
for serious. Like, all they know is that they're doing what we asked, and they hope we're patient about it, which is
Right.
the most Japanese thing I've ever heard in my life. It's like, yeah, I'll make you what you want. I'll come back in 7 years. You sit right here.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, no, the fan community, because the internet, super not gonna happen. It's gonna be very angry in 6 months when they don't have the full fucking game.
Yeah, but
Especially because Square Enix has been putting out so many of their companies have been putting out episodic content. They know how to do that. They know how to do a regular beats of release, and if they're not going to do that with 7, push it back until you have a regular beat of release.
Yeah.
Cancel that fucking date. I don't give a fuck if it's going to piss people off. Cancel it until you have a regular stream of release of information of game content. Otherwise, you're going to get people very happy and then very angry when they have to wait 1 to 5 years for the next part.
yeah, I mean, how long did it
I
take
was
for
gonna
us
say, we've been
to
waiting
get
this
Final
long.
Fantasy 15? 7 years?
Yeah.
I think it was 7 years, back when it was 13 verses.
Yeah, that's true.
But that was in the influx years of Square Enix.
Yeah,
that was very much the Square Enix didn't know where it was going, didn't know what it was doing, and weirdly, I still feel that because they released so many fucking cell phone games and remakes of games at this point that I just got lost. I honestly, watching that thing, was going, I don't know what the fuck's going on. They're just remaking shit and making cell phone games now.
Well, here's the thought process from Square Enix when it comes to their JRPGs, which they were known for. It was like, cool, JRPG, Final Fantasy 13, okay, flop, maybe kind of, maybe release some sequels. Okay, people don't like JRPGs anymore when they release one and it dies. And then they realize, wait, people really do still like JRPGs. They just like our old ones.
They just like it whenever they're not made as pieces of shit.
They like the old ones, so let's bring in the old ones. And now I can play nearly every Final Fantasy. 8 coming soon, which was a Square
Right,
Enix
that-
thing on Steam.
kind of a big deal because
Big
it was
deal.
thought for a long time the code for that was lost.
Yeah.
And they were basically like I think Square Enix in an interview at one point said like I don't know, man,
Yeah,
the code for
we don't know where
it's
that
lost.
is. It
Like,
is in
it's-
a basement
I mean,
under
at-
Fukushima.
But at this point, that game is so old, they have to do the same thing they did with 7, which is the code, even if they had it, is going to be fucking useless. They just watch somebody play the game and remake it off of that.
Yeah, but it is coming out.
Yeah.
It's just a remastered version.
and
gonna
it's
be
soon. It's like
And
an
honestly,
hour or something.
so it's 8, right?
It's
cool.
this year.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm looking. I actually do.
I'm a Final
I
Fantasy
did like
8 guy.
8. I liked 8. I thought
you
7 was
would-
dumb and
would
8
like
was
8.
good.
God, you would.
I will go back and play a better version of 8.
There's some really cool being brought for the first time to America announcements.
Yeah.
They're not popular popular games, but they're ones that have a very cult following here.
Oh, yeah, very much so.
The Romancing Saga 3 is going to be coming, which was on the SNES, and that's cool. It's going to be coming across all platforms. Another Saga game, Saga Scarlet Grace, is going to be finally coming over to the West, so that's going to be pretty cool. Another big announcement was they were doing a bunch with the let me see if I don't think I have the info in here. The Secret of Mana series.
Yep.
Yeah, the Secret of
there's a
Mana.
lot of stuff.
Yeah, that coming on Steam right now is a huge deal.
Right.
My buddy Ross, huge JRPG fan from like the SNES days, went nuts when he saw that.
Yeah, so the big deal about the new Secret of Mana collection, it's going to have the original version of Secret of Mana, which is the game that I played growing up, which was Final Fantasy Adventure.
Gotcha.
Years and years ago, it was remade as like something of Mana. I tried playing that version of it where they tried to like update the pixels and do all this stuff. I hated it. I was like,
Gotcha.
I love the original product. The fact they're putting that into the bundle, fantastic. And more importantly, they're bringing Secret of Mana 2 or Seiken Densetsu 3, I believe it's called in Japan, is finally coming stateside.
Yeah.
And it's coming stateside twice. It's coming once in the bundle in its original form,
Yeah.
and then they're doing a 3D remaster of it, and that's going to be coming out at a later date.
Like they used to do for the DS.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's how it's going to be doing. So you get to play the original SNES version on the collection, and then you can buy the new 3D up-resed, special voice acting, all that stuff
Yeah.
when that comes out
So
later.
as much as I complain that we're getting remakes and cell phone versions of games coming from Square Enix, they're actually finally giving their audience what they want.
Yeah.
Their audience has been asking for years, please bring these games from Japan to the rest of the fucking world because we can't read Japanese. So please at least, make them in our language so we can understand what's going on.
Literally, people
And-
have translated these games already.
yeah, for years, and they've been out as fake
ROMs,
versions, as
yeah.
ROMs. But now the fact that you can get them as your cell phone games, you can get them as these like better, faster running versions of these
Yeah.
games, but now localized for newer or different audiences.
Yeah.
It's good. Are these games
Very
for
good.
me? Fuck no.
No, they're not.
Which is why I was like, cool, it's a bunch of this fucking remakes and cell phone games. But for that audience, this is amazing. Square actually finally, after like 17 years, listened to their audience and said, please bring these games over here.
And there was a lot that Square Enix announced that was either available today or like available in the next 2 weeks. By
yeah.
the way, like
There
there was
was
a
a
lot
lot
of their
of that.
like there wasn't a lot in their conference aside from the very end. There was a future dated thing. Let's see here. They showed a new shooter from the crew People Can Fly who worked on Gears of War Judgment. It's called Outriders.
Yeah, I would love
Yeah.
to see more of that.
Yeah, that looked kind of interesting.
What was
I love,
what
I
was
love
the-
People Can Fly. People Can Fly is an awesome studio.
They also showed a World War II shooter thing that looks like they should not have made that game.
It's that studio that keeps doing like literally makes an entirely different project from their last one every time they make. A
Okay,
game.
cool, but
That's
we
why
already
you
have
didn't-
World War II shooters that look
Right.
way fucking better than that game.
was that thing. That game, that publisher was showing off their library to show you how they've evolved as a publisher, and they were able to enter the space of like World War II competitive shooters. There are people who play that game,
Okay.
and they evolved from games that like nobody has ever heard of.
Okay, I mean that's an interesting game history of a company thing, but like when it comes to things you're showing off at E3 that are supposed to be look at how spectacular this is, I did not get
No,
that. I
that-
was
that
like,
was
this
a
is
very-
that was very much a brrrr, why are you even putting this on stage?
That was a very indie thing that they wanted to let the fans of that game know, like we hear you, like you're there.
Yeah.
that was
Okay, I guess maybe because it's just like I've
it was probably
surpassed
well
that.
under your radar. For
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we have Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition.
Huge deal, but that's a Switch thing.
It's going to be
Oh,
on
Switch and
It's
mobile.
going to be on Switch, PlayStation 4, and mobile.
So, small, quick story on that. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Some friends of mine all lived in a house when we were in college. There were like some of my closest friends all living in a house.
Right.
And they had...
We've all had that life.
Yeah, and they had a console, and each console had a connector to a Game Boy. Like most of them were like
Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, the Game Boy Advance and the flip one too.
Right.
But that was how you played that game. You played it with a small screen down here and a big screen up here. You control your character. You see your stats, and you see your character
It
playing.
was a DS before the DS.
Co-op Final Fantasy game with your friends on the couch as you solve this awesome like Final Fantasy level story and RPG. It was so fucking cool. Your powers even had synergies when you cast them together. There was a lot going on there, and they endlessly told me how much fun this game was, and I never got to play it because I lived in a different part of town.
Right.
So seeing this come like forward in age and watching our boss actually just said he can't wait to play this with his kids because he's one of the people I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
So he's like, I can't wait to play this with my kids. I remember playing that at the house back in the day, and it was like some of the most fun I ever had gaming. And I can't believe it took them this long to do this, but
Right.
it made me want to play it, and it also made me really want them to do this again. Make another Crystal Chronicles.
Right.
for the Switch. We can do that.
We can see it.
We have the technology.
We have the
Or for the cell phone at this point.
Last Remnant Remastered was dropped that day on Switch.
I think I own The Last Remnant on Steam. That's a very complicated JRPG.
Let's see here. There was a new game called Circuit Superstars. It's just a top-down arcade-style racer in the vein of like those really, really like RC Pro-Am style racers.
And that was from the same studio that made the World War II game.
Yeah, they do very niche projects.
Like I said, it's all they do is
They're
change
just all
entirely
over.
what
They're just
doing.
all over the place.
Yeah, they actually
It's just-
should. They did show a mobile game that I was interested in, which was War of the Visions. It's actually a spin-off of another mobile game that they do that's actually kind of fun and actually not that like bad in terms of monetization.
Okay.
But this being a tactics one, I was like, oh, this is a tactics game. Love it.
I
I'm
had
on
the
board.
hardest time playing Final Fantasy Tactics on my phone, and I'll never play a tactics game on my phone.
I can do it
ever
on
again.
tab. I don't know if I can do it on a phone.
It was hard on the phone.
Let's see here. They had a new Tokyo RPG Factory. The people who made I Am Setsuna made a new game called Ononaki. That looks cool.
Yeah.
That's really most everything that we have from Square, except for the big one at the end that we do
All right,
need
so
to talk
this is
about.
all right,
Really
so
big
We're
one.
gonna get to that in 1 second. The one thing up until the big one at the end
Yeah.
that I felt coming from Square was it was a bunch of games that aren't for me, but I'm happy that the audience are getting them.
Yeah.
But it was more a bunch of games.
Oh, yeah.
And we haven't gotten that really from Square before. It's
That's
been
true.
like 20 minutes and you saw like 3 things. And they just spent their time talking about it, not even
And-
showing you
But,
them.
but
Most of them
tell me,
coming
This
out
was
soon.
the most games I've seen come out of Square Enix.
Yeah.
And, I mean,
I mean,
yes, they're
yeah.
all remakes and cell phone games, but they're making way more games.
They're becoming a publisher, a
Yeah.
big publisher.
Yeah.
We saw Little Kingdom Hearts 2, but it was anyone else taken aback by how all over the place the conference was? Because I felt like it was like Final Fantasy, and then like Secret of Mana, and then like something else, and then back to Final Fantasy, and then Kingdom Hearts,
you-
which is basically Final Fantasy.
The,
And
the,
Final Fantasy
the
7,
graphic
then
that they
Final Fantasy
used
14.
to jump around from place to place felt very felt very much like
the
this
whole
was.
show was jarring, and it made it hard to keep building hype, which is kind of what leads us into our next section.
Yeah, I mean, I was hoping in my heart above hearts I would see like a new Vagrant story or a new Parasite Eve hint or something like that.
Parasite Eve.
Like that would have been fantastic. But what
This
we-
was not that conference. This is the conference of now.
right. It was
Up until
was.
so minus a couple things, but it was
Except-
the conference of now.
for the Avengers.
The Avengers.
We have got to talk about the Avengers.
do we have to?
We have to. I mean, it's happening.
Theoretically, it might come out at some point. I don't know.
Hey, it was only 2 years ago that we got like a hey, we're doing this, and now we had like a whole bunch of models in a game looking like they were interacting with other models in a big cityscape, and lots of interesting looking action scenes. We obviously didn't see any gameplay. We saw,
Yeah.
but we looked like what we were.
We
seeing
saw some
was,
really bad FMVs.
We
is
were.
what we saw.
We looked like what we
and
were
that,
seeing.
by the
was
way, that was a
in-engine,
trend.
though.
That was a trend at E3 this year. There was a lot of game studios showing trailers that weren't showing fucking gameplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I
a
mean,
whole lot.
I'm
And we
expecting
don't
that
need
just
to
to
go
be the
back to
hand.
that.
That's the way E3 had used to function and is going to start functioning
but
again.
we as gamers
especially
don't
as
want
console
that.
generations change.
I don't think it's how they're going to start functioning again. I think it was a necessity from this year because we're kind of in a leap year.
Like
Yeah, no, it's the next year we get to see what they actually look like because they've had 2 years
Right.
with the new hardware. They can actually make them look like what they're supposed to look like.
So
In the past, they
there's
thought
a
they need-
lot
yeah, go
to unpack here with the Avengers
so much.
because what we saw was a trailer where all the characters very much lined up personality wise. It was an interesting concept. The art style.
Oh,
seemed a
Nolan
bit
North
off.
as Iron Man was fucking awful.
So the big questions here is obviously we don't have a release date for it. We don't know what the type of game it is. We know that it's a 1 to 4 player game that
Yeah.
you can play by yourself or play with friends. That we've been told in later interviews is only monetized in the sense that maybe buying the base game and buying skins, but skins have no effect on the game itself.
Correct.
No, all additional characters that will be added, all additional maps that will be added to the game will be free for players.
Right. So
With
the
the
way
exception that Sony will get exclusive content over everybody else.
So the way I think this will work is that you'll buy the game and you'll play the game and you can buy skins, direct skins, no random loot boxes. They did say that in a later interview, but You're gonna start paying for expansion packs, but
Right.
probably very small ones.
Sure.
Probably like here's like a 5-hour adventure. It's like $10.
My
15 bucks.
initial thought process
I'm-
was
I'm fine
we
whenever
get, we
companies
get
make
San Francisco at the
story
opening,
stuff
Right.
for a few
and then
bucks.
maybe we'll get Manhattan,
Yeah.
and then maybe we'll get Miami or something like that. Like,
So we had a whole conversation when this was announced, where you said like you would have you were hoping for more of like a Spider-Man situation,
yeah, I was hoping for it to be like
like
honestly,
a big open world, like big game you can do your Avengers thing in.
Yeah.
I was expecting something more akin to Destiny, and I think
You did
mine
get
was
it.
closer to what you got.
Well, here's why I think the business model they're talking about right now lends itself to the Avengers, because at the end of the game we want to hopefully keep playing the Avengers. If they can release this one game and keep adding characters and keep adding stories.
Yeah,
for,
it's just
like,
comic book story arcs where they're like, cool, we're going to be
3
doing Secret Wars now. We're going to be doing this.
Imagine if they can do this and then maybe release an Avengers 2 like halfway through the next console cycle and just keep it going. We could be playing Avengers games the way we've been watching Avengers movies.
And Brooklyn has a good point. Brooklyn says the casual audience has this image of the Avengers in their mind, and they kind of gave us the stage play cast equivalent. He's talking specifically about the way the Avengers look.
That's true.
Now, we need to address
But
that
also,
because
but his comment right before that was in a world where we've already had Endgame Infinity War, the plot line that they gave us is like, cool, we've literally already seen this. What can
That's
you
true.
do to make this
Yeah.
remotely
Sure,
interesting?
A Day may not have been the best choice to go with.
So, but we've been reading a lot of stuff from the developers where they've been talking about this game just outside of E3. And one of the things that they said was they read all of the negative Twitter comments and all that and said, all right, so what we did is we called our art team and said, all right,
Change
guys,
everything.
we're redoing it.
Yeah,
So that's a big deal.
It is.
And one of the reasons this
Also,
is such,
maybe recast some fucking people.
and what this is
Those voice actors are amazing.
What
You
this
don't
is
need to
doing-
realize.
Again, Nolan North did not sound like Tony Stark.
what this
He doesn't sound like Robert Downey Jr. Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry, he
it's
doesn't
fine.
sound like the character. Does,
The situation that we have here is that we saw a game that, at best, we might get a release date for it next year's E3.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe.
I think with
And-
if
and
they
reason-
take the criticism to heart, it's going to be 2 years at
and,
least.
and I was talking to Hector about this earlier today, and I said the reason that I feel this way about it is that specifically, I think this is Square Enix's big shot, right? It's kind of like when you think about EA and the Star Wars license. EA has fucked up the Star Wars license a lot, and
Yeah.
finally, Disney came down on them for it. Like
yeah, this is the third game
Right.
that is like 2 have been canceled.
Right.
This is the third one that is maybe coming
Right.
out.
Marvel Disney came down on them after all the things that happened with
Battlefield 2.
Yeah, let's not forget about
Battlefront.
Battlefront 1 and 2.
Battlefront,
Those games
sorry.
do count, and they count as failures.
And
Yeah,
so
no, these are bombs of games.
what I think Square Enix is doing is that they're showing this game off. They gave this introductory video for the Avengers at E3. They wanted to get the interest, they wanted to get the feedback from the fans, and now that we've given them that input, they're going to take it to heart. They're going to go back to the drawing board, and they're going to take their time with this game. Because what they don't want is to release a product and have it become a Battlefront.
Yeah.
And have Disney look at Square Enix and say, you no longer
You're not
get
allowed to make
Yeah.
any
you
more
can no
of our
longer
games.
make any games for us.
No, no cell phone games, no nothing. You're not allowed to make
Yeah.
any more games
If Disney's-
because Disney's got fuck you. We're Disney money.
Yeah.
We will rip that license
Shit.
away from you.
If Disney / Marvel signed with if Disney signed with EA for Star Wars, whatever contract they signed, when they signed it for Marvel, it was way more we control your shit.
Yeah.
And if you fuck us, we take your money.
Yeah, you go. That was a cool experiment that you got to try. You are not allowed to make any more video games.
Exactly.
So
You're
I,
done with us.
So I know that we kind of like bashed this game a little bit, but I think that what we saw here was an experiment, and what they're going to do is start going back, making changes, building on it, because they want to make the best possible Avengers game, because eventually they want to be the go-to publisher for Disney.
You know what I found in what I saw, and obviously we didn't see any gameplay,
Mm-hmm.
but I saw the characters and I saw the kind of action they were saying would, you know, based on the video, would look what the game would look like, what kind of action we could expect, what kind of scenarios we could expect. And what I saw was, and obviously we'll talk about this one later, a more interesting, maybe adult is the wrong word, but more advanced version of Ultimate Alliance.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
I
kinda
can't
agree with
wait
that.
to play.
That would be cool.
Which I can't wait to play.
I'm looking forward to the next Ultimate Alliance 3 on Switch, which
Oh,
I have to
wait.
get a Switch
Yeah.
just to play this. Weirdly, it's a
Yes.
console seller for me,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
don't know why. I just like that fucking game
is.
franchise.
We'll talk
But-
about Nintendo later, but I think they
yeah, we'll
sold
get
me
to
a
Nintendo
console this
later.
year.
But in the case of this Avengers game, we had to bring up the fact that they're still doing stupid fucking console exclusive shit in a world where we
That
don't
is
want
true.
that anymore.
That is
Square
true.
Enix is
Square Enix
probably the
was way too much on the we're only putting out shit for either Sony or Nintendo and that's it.
They might go back on that.
They might. Look, Square is like an old...
We need to give them the backlash. If they're listening to us on
holdover.
art design, they need to listen to us. Do not ever do console exclusives. That is a thing of the past. That is an old man way of thinking. We don't want that as a culture anymore.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I completely
Right.
agree.
I think that, yeah... Oh, yeah, Spider-Man will be only on PlayStation.
Spider-Man's
That's
fine
funny.
because Sony bought the
Because
rights to
Sony
that
owns
character.
Spider-Man. No,
I
but-
get that.
Well,
but-
what I'm thinking about Square is that
Oh, he
Square
meant
has
Spider-Man in the game is only. Oh, fuck you then. No. Fuck you. Don't put Spider-Man in the fucking game.
The Square has a long history of only releasing games. We're talking about Final Fantasy VII, PlayStation 1. They have a long history of only releasing games on Sony platforms. I think some
Which
of
is
that's-
weird because Final Fantasy would have played better and ran better had they put it on the Dreamcast instead.
I think that the Dreamcast versus the PlayStation 1,
Yeah.
it would have been better on the PS2 than the Dreamcast. You're just skipping generations there. So the
would have been better on the Stadia, but
Yeah,
we didn't
honestly, it
get
would have been better on the PS4.
Hold out for the Dreamcast. Maybe we would have kept that alive.
Should
So-
have been on the TurboGrafx 16, guys.
Right, so I'm thinking there was a little bit of that exclusivity left in their blood. Maybe it was the end line of a contract from forever ago.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have made this decision going like, this is what the kids want. I think they probably had to. Because there's no way they don't know
I
that
think
no one's
that
doing
I
this
think
anymore.
living in a post Bungie fucking saying "fuck you" world,
Mm-hmm.
companies can go over there and say, "Yeah, we're gonna take a loss to make our fans happy."
I hope so.
And taking a loss to make your fans happy makes your fans give you more money.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what companies need to start looking into. Not this. Well, we still have to make this one exclusive for this company. Say, "Fuck you," we're buying ourselves out of that because we're not gonna piss off people.
And more companies will probably try. That
Definitely.
being said, with all this Avengers stuff, we haven't heard the last of it, so I think that it's hard for us to make any initial assessments, especially when the developers have been so responsive to the fans and saying that that's what we're going to do. So let's go ahead and get rid of Square Enix, and let's go ahead and get ready to jump into the big three.
Oh, you did it.
I let him
I knew whenever we were getting to that part.
Okay,
I was letting him-
I didn't know. I was.
We're getting into the "it's an hour long." I need to fucking say it.
You guys had talked to each other with your eyes or something, because the whole time I'm like, I think we might need to like break and save the podcast, and you guys were already on top of it.
Yeah, no, I had actually wrote to him on my phone and just handed it to
Oh,
him.
okay. I was literally about to do that to you. Like, do we need a break?
No, 19. I keep hitting 18 for some reason today.
Right.
I actually
well,
have.
if we're taking a break, I'm gonna take a leak.
Yeah, take a break real quick. I'll put a music thing in there or something
Yeah,
if we
that's
have
fine.
to. Because it's going to sound different when we come back.
It is,
always
absolutely.
does.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about TurboGrafx at the end. Don't let us forget that. I didn't put it in the notes, but I need to remember that we need to. I'm very angry about that.
Did you also see
So-
they finally showed off the Atari stuff?
Yeah, I forgot to put that in here. What is that even? It's just, is it a console?
Yeah, no, it's a console that runs the Atari version of Steam essentially. It's basically a kind of a PC. You can buy it directly from them or GameStop or Walmart. And there's different variants of them if you want them. Like GameStop gets the only black one, Walmart gets this one with like
It's a good
gold
question.
thing.
What
and-
fad needs to die? Battle royales or releasing mini consoles?
Oh, if I had to kill one,
I propose an alternate solution to you, Brooklyn. I say that we make a battle royale in which mini consoles fight each
weirdly,
other.
that's the exact same idea that I came up with. I was like, how do I merge both of these bad things into one thing that we could ultimately get rid of?
So battle royales are obnoxious, but you know what? I think they're phasing themselves out. I think that mini consoles are.
Really, Fallout. I mean, I think Fallout's probably the death nail. Like,
That's
maybe we
really-
don't do these anymore.
Yeah, I
let's
mean-
take a failed game and add a failed idea into it.
Yeah. Re-releasing consoles as minis. Now, okay, I am tired of that fad. However, I have been reading the early reviews for the Sega Genesis Mini, and all of them are saying, like, if you buy one mini console in your life,
It's
like,
this one.
buy this one.
It's the one that like I love my little NES and SNES, and they're fun to play with, and it's great because especially because the SNES because I didn't have one.
yeah.
Right.
But the Genesis that's the one I did have. And that's the one I spent most of
fact
my
that it has
time
40
on. That's the it has so many
40
games.
games,
40
and all
plus
of them
games.
are, like,
They're
amazing.
good. They are choice titles.
They are
Yeah.
definitely choice.
You're not getting a bunch of like balloon like
Fight.
flight or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the problem that both of the Nintendo's one have. They have games that you're just like, I'm literally never going to
Yeah,
play that.
no one cared about this.
No one cared about this when it came out. No one cared about this in the last 30 years. Whereas Sega's like, these are literally the best games that Sega put out during its life.
Blitz, fucking
Okay,
Gemfire is
if-
one of my favorite games of all time. I'm a giant Gemfire fan.
Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I
would
played on my
shit
fucking Game
myself
Boy.
for a Zombies Ate My Neighbors just a game.
Just seriously,
Game movie.
Can we just get like Devolver to make it because it's a shitty fucking 8-bit game?
Yeah.
like
If
they
we
can
got a
find some studio
to find the rights to this game,
and then just like Devolver release this because we just and don't fucking Devolver it, make it
Yeah.
funny. No, seriously, just make a remade version of Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
yeah, it just says top down 2D
Yeah,
cute
we're-
sprites
Yeah.
shooting
I want
zombies.
Zombies
with
Ate My
squirt
Neighbors,
guns.
and I want Paperboy.
Yeah. I feel like you could just play Flappy Bird and that's Paperboy.
No,
All right,
Paperboy
we-
was more complicated than that.
We got to try and knock this out.
All right.
'cause
All right,
this-
let's do
This
it.
is our biggest section, so feel free to take our time on this.
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. What do we have? Where are we on Microsoft already?
We're on
Or
starting with
Nintendo.
we're starting with Stadia actually.
Oh, okay. Did Stadia show things?
They did before.
They did a they did on Thursday.
Oh,
They did a
okay.
Stadia Direct.
All right. Well, I can talk about that.
Yeah. All right, so we need to jump into all these things that are the big three, essentially. We've got Nintendo to talk about, we've got Microsoft to talk about, and we've got the Stadia to talk about. So I'm going to start with the Stadia because they actually aired their Direct before E3.
Yeah, they were there as a physical entity at E3,
Yeah.
but they wanted to do they did a 30-minute video, really short and simple. Most of it was actually with Bungie. did a little direct thing they just put on YouTube, and they're like, here you go, watch our fucking little video. We don't care. And I'm way more interested in Stadia now than I was previously. And I think it's mostly because of Bungie.
I think I said this to James a few times. No matter how many speed tests or demos they show me on camera, I will never trust a Stadia until I feel it in my hands and it doesn't feel like crap.
Are you
that's
willing
just-
to-
I don't mean to be biased and I don't mean
No.
to be mean.
No, that makes
because
complete
I am
sense.
rooting for Google Stadia.
No,
My
And then
opinion on the whole Stadia thing is that this is a console that is going to live and die by word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
More
and
so than
that's-
like when Microsoft or Sony puts a console out, they don't need to advertise too much because people hear it's coming out. They're probably going to get it if they're interested in video games.
Yeah.
Stadia has so many complicated moving parts. It has to be a word of mouth.
Yeah, no, and that's
console.
the reason why I was getting to my question.
And it has to work.
And my question for both of you is: we did get announcements for pricing,
Mm-hmm.
and is right now the only pricing that you can get is the $130
Mm-hmm.
early adopter package worth at least one of us testing it out?
I was gonna say that's a good buy-in for that
And
model.
it is very it's cheaper
You know
than
what?
it's cheaper than a Switch,
If I try it and I pay my $130
and you get
it
3 months of their Game Pass
Right.
essentially.
So basically, if I try it and it doesn't work, honestly, if I paid $130 and I tried it for 3 months and it just felt like shit and there was too
It's
much
100
latency, and then it lapsed and a year later they're like it's back, I might try it again.
So the Founders
Because
Edition
you can just take it back up.
It's-
You already bought the controller.
Right, so
Yeah.
the Founders Edition is $129. You get a Chromecast Ultra, a controller, 3 months of Stadia Pro, and you get to give 3 months of Stadia Pro to like a friend.
Yeah.
That's
That's badass.
Which my friend is me, so I get 6 months. That's just how that works. No, but and you get access to their game library, which at this point is Destiny: The Collection.
and Assassin's Creed Odyssey, I think.
It might be. I know that they showed in the video
Well,
that it was the
they're-
main one. They're like, you're getting
Right.
Destiny:
So-
The Collection with all
Ubisoft
of this.
also said they were having some games. come out
Baldur's
on
Gate
Stadia.
3 showed up.
Baldur's Gate 3 on Stadia.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
like it showed up on Stadia. We have, of course, Doom Eternal was their big
Yeah.
original title
But
for
these
it.
aren't necessarily part of their $10 a month you get to play it package. It might be you have to buy this game and then have access to it as a separate cost outside of that $10 a
Could be.
month.
We don't. They haven't. They haven't.
We don't know
released their
about
lineup
So
yet.
that
I don't
yet.
wanna get
that will come
too-
out later this year.
I don't want to get too hung up on the technical specs of it because I know that bores a lot of people.
Yeah.
But one of my concerns, obviously, is that America does not have a great infrastructure for internet.
No, not
And-
compared to most of the first one.
Right.
Yeah, Europe beats the living shit out of us.
Right.
Japan-
Australia way fucking behind us.
And so-
Japan wipes the floor with Europe, so that's them compared to us.
Right. But when we look at this, we have to wonder what kind of speeds are we looking at, right? Like if I only have a 15 megabit connection at my rural place in, BFE, Michigan, how's this going to work out? It was actually very forward thinking of Google to come out and start their conference with specs.
It was.
Normally, I hate when companies come out and start throwing specs around, but it was necessary. They came out and said, if you have a 10 megabyte connection, like you can get at least a 720p,
My spelling's
60 FPS experience with the Stadia.
Yeah, no, and whenever they said the for a 5 meg connection, you can get 30 frames at 720, and then going up to 10 megs a second, you get 1080 at 60 frames a second, and then once you hit 35 and things like that, you're getting 4K at 60 frames a second with HDR.
Right.
And you're just looking at that, and this is inside of a Chrome browser.
Yeah.
You're like, God damn, if these specs actually hold up, if they actually hold up.
Right. So I have no doubt that they can stream at that fidelity. I honestly don't, considering that I get 4K movies from Netflix every day. That's not what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about is when I click A in my controller, how long until my character jumps.
That was
That's
one
all
of the things
that
that they
matters to me.
stated. One of the things
Literally
they
all
stated in
that
the
matters to
video
me.
was that their latency right now is to the point where it is faster than it takes your brain to send the signal to your hand, or for your eye to go to your brain, for your brain to go to your thumb.
Well, they say shit like that, but
they
people
say that.
People also say you can't see higher than 40 frames a second, so why have 60 frame games? People are stupid
which is
sometimes.
bullshit, because now playing games at like on 144 hertz monitor, you're like, holy shit, I can actually see up to, I know I can see up to about 90 frames a second before my eyes start going like, it's just, I'm not getting any change.
Right. So what I'm saying is, when it comes to stuff like that, they'll say, "Oh, you can't tell the difference." They always say that at
Bullshit,
first.
you can super see the difference.
But ask someone like Brooklyn, ask a fighting game player if they notice input lag versus wireless controllers, old school wireless controllers versus corded ones.
Right.
He'll probably say, "You fucking bet I did."
I played a lot of FPSs on PC, and I for a long time would not even go near a wireless controller. Like
No, that's
I wouldn't
no,
even use a
well.
wireless mouse, and like I still don't.
That's
You
what
know,
I mean,
actually,
like,
no.
yeah.
Wireless mouse have come a long way recently. In
I'm
fact,
sure
their
they have.
latency are ridiculous now. Like,
sure
it's
it is.
instantaneous.
But I still don't trust them for the reason that I couldn't trust
Right.
them when
Now
I was.
they
But
did-
I went to hardwired on my controllers because it was just I could tell that my input lag was different. Even on a console, like I will shoot faster if I'm hardwired in.
Right, but they also did show off Mortal Kombat 11 and Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, and saying that these are our fighting games that we're testing.
It was smart of them
on.
to show fighting games.
Yeah, and saying like input lag is, we know it's a known issue, and these are the games that we're testing this on.
Yeah, I mean, if it comes out and the input lag is honestly even just tolerable, they really have something on their hands. They really do. And it'd be amazing to see Google like come with a giant E3 show in like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, again, this is a word of mouth console. This is a very complicated process where we got to talk about, not just us here in Austin who have Google Fiber, right? But we need to be talking about people that live in the middle of Idaho and stuff like that, who don't have high speed internet everywhere. And
I
yes,
love you bring up Idaho, but not like 30 miles away from Austin, where there's literally middle of nothing.
Well,
I want to. I want
Texas. There's a whole lot of middle of
I want to
nothing.
represent the entire U.S., not just Texas. Thank you
Well,
very
my
much.
biggest thing is one of my favorite
an option. I
one of
guess.
my favorite streamers, Co-Carnage. If you're watching, hi. You're not watching, but still. He's from North Carolina. That's where he lives with his family and his wife and his kid. And I don't know how he's constantly fighting with Time Warner Cable. He says like, I've got a good contact. He comes to the house. He sim tests all my shit because Co is constantly streaming a huge game and his face and all kind of overlay all throughout the internet from North Carolina. That can't be easy.
Right.
There's not a lot of infrastructure.
No.
Yeah, no.
Most of the people, anybody watching this would take a few seconds to find North Carolina on the map. So that's where he's streaming from, and it's not easy. So when I think about Google Stadia and I think about him trying to stream a game upstream while also playing Google Stadia downstream, I mean, this is an issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot to think about, and again, I know I keep trying to drive this point home where it talks about, where I keep talking about, the latency, not just in terms of the controller inputs, but also, the speed of internet connectivity. That's why this whole word of mouth thing is so very important. Now, that being said, one of the things we've been saying about the Stadia for a long time is that you can't sell a console if you ain't got the games.
Yep.
Right, but they did show Borderlands 3. They did show a new Darksiders game, and yes, these things will probably be coming to other places, but they are going to be on the Stadia, which means they are a viable. It makes the Stadia a more viable option at that
Right.
point.
No, if you have the library and you want to buy into a console, and you like, look, if you live in a city, which a fucking lot of people do, and you decide like I want to play video games, and you don't want to drop $500 on the next PlayStation or Xbox,
Right.
you can for $130 get into your house with your good internet connection that all you do is fucking watch Instagram on, and you can probably play some really good ass games.
I'm interested in Google Stadia. They showed off so much that I want to just try out.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, I just want to try it out. And I
Yeah.
can't. I'm not looking this as a way to replace my gaming experience
No.
on console
Yeah.
or on PC at this
Yeah,
point.
I'm not trashing my PC. I'm not.
Because
giving
weirdly,
up
I'm still going to need a
PlayStation.
PC to play my games anyway, so I don't really see quite the point in that. But it looks like something that like I would want to pick up for a month or two if I'm going to go visit my family at someplace
Yeah.
else, and I know the internet connection's good.
Right.
But let's say I know that like everybody's switched over to 4G or something, and I can tether my phone to a fast ass phone
Right.
internet connection. I know it's going to work, so I can play my video games and not have to lug a Xbox or PlayStation or
Right.
PC with me.
I mean, and my best case scenario is like I have this gaming setup here in town, and I go visit my family that lives in Seattle. Right, I take like 2 of my Stadia controllers with me. I go visit my cousin. He lives in Seattle. He has got great internet, and we just like take these controllers and on his like Google Chromecast enabled TV, just load up the games I'm playing and play some 2-player. Think about how cool
Think about you just take your little Chromecast little dongle
Yeah.
and your controller, and you just plug into wherever the fuck you want, and that's
Yeah.
all you need.
And you
Like,
just-
that's great. And I mean, if I'm not playing something that requires very fast issues with input lag,
Right.
then it'd be awesome. As a
But
I
the,
just-
but the question that we ultimately
Is
have
the
to
games
ask
there?
have to ultimately ask ourselves after watching Google's press event before E3 is what Google showed enough to sell us on the product as of right now?
They
There-
honestly, if I'm being 100% honest, they sold me on the product when they told me how it works. Everything that matters now, because I want to try it. It's the gamer in me and the tech guy in me.
The early adopter.
Curiosity, early adopter for sure. The curiosity alone makes me want to try this.
Yeah, no, that's actually
So-
the reason why I looked up how much it was going to be, when the release date is, all the information. Because
Yeah.
watching that video, I went, okay, cool. I will actually. I'm interested in spending $130 to try something out.
Yeah, now it's
This
all
is
a
like-
matter of degrees.
It's like the Ouya. Like people spent like $250 on an Ouya, which was a glorified fucking cell phone.
Yeah, I'm
like,
really-
why the fuck
yeah.
did people do that? Google at least has Google backing, and I feel like this is going to be around better, and it's going to be a better experience.
Yeah.
I mean, to bring back the history of the show, we were
To-
Ouya supporters there for a
To
little,
as
for a hot minute.
generously as we can compare Google to Ouya. We did that.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I might be willing to drop, or I might be able to wait a week, right? Like, wait a week for it, and then see what people say about it, and if people have positive reviews. then
Honestly,
I'll
not
try
even a
that.
week. You know that they're going to be giving those out to influencers and
that's the
shit.
thing.
And they're and a lot of those people, I do trust some of them. Are like, no, I'm going to straight up do tests.
I trust some of them. I trust the people to be like, look, I'm pointing a camera at my TV and my thumb. That's what happened.
You know,
That's
Linus,
what it looks like.
Linus Tech Tips is going to get one before everybody else, and they're going to do. They actually have an input lag setup for press a button and this thing happen on screen that they've been testing for years.
Yeah.
And they're going to be like, no, we're going to see how this fucking works.
Yep.
And those are the people that I'm going to listen to and go, yes, I'm willing to buy this. Unfortunately, my name will be gone because if I didn't buy the $130 package, you don't get access to deciding your fucking gamer tag before everybody else.
Meh. No one takes my gamer tag.
Right? Yeah, same here. So, with Google out of the way, we should
I'm
talk
going to take all your gamer tags.
a little bit about Nintendo.
Yeah. Let's talk about Nintendo.
All
Because
right.
Nintendo had a very refreshing showing this year.
Not.
I'm weirdly interested in the Zelda game.
Spoiler alert! I feel like Nintendo had the best conference this year.
You think so?
I think so.
Okay.
I think. Okay, so we'll get to Xbox and what they sold me, but Nintendo might have actually sold me a Switch this year.
Yeah.
And I have.
Microsoft
two-
actually literally did sell you things this
well, yeah,
time.
but we're gonna get to that. I'll talk about that later. But like, looking at the Nintendo lineup in the past that I know of games I want to play,
Mm-hmm.
and everything that they showed this year, it's getting harder and harder to be like, I can wait on a Switch.
So-
especially because they didn't announce a new hardware version this year.
Right. And that's what people thought was going to happen. We thought we were going to hear about a new hardware version of the
I was
Switch.
expecting a Switch XL or something, you know, with like
I'm
a
a
1
little
inch
bit-
bigger screen.
I'm a little bit glad they didn't.
Yeah. That means they're just keeping on with the product. So they've showed Cadence of Hyrule, which is from the people who did Crypt of the Necrodancer.
I love Crypt of the Necrodancer. I played that game so much. It's amazing. Play that right now or play the Zelda one later. You won't be disappointed.
I mean, it comes out on June 13th, so like
it's so
2 days.
So like, isn't it the 12th today?
Yeah.
So
by the time this
This episode will come out when that comes out.
yeah.
That's how that's gonna
So
work.
yeah, the Crypt of the Zelda. Play that.
Cadence of Hyrule.
Cadence of Hyrule. Fine.
Yeah, that looked very entertaining. It was a lot of fun. Before you go any further in this, we should mention before we talk about games, this was Doug Bowser's first E3 as like head of Nintendo.
It was. I think I said to you when we were watching the conference that he's just lacking the avuncular quality that Reggie had.
Yeah.
Reggie very much had this like Neil deGrasse Tyson quality where he could talk in like a low, soothing voice, and he smiled at you, and you just believed what he said.
He knew when to be bombastic, though.
Yeah, and he knew when to ham it up.
Yeah.
And when to like play it straight because everyone else was hamming it up. He had a good stage presence.
Yeah.
He had a good voice for talking about Nintendo because Nintendo is, for all intents and purposes, thematically a soft company, and he had like a soft like touch to everything.
He was a teddy bear, and that's what I always got.
I
got
just-
from
I-
him.
I
He was
just
always
feel like
he was a teddy bear of a person.
Doug Bowser came in and got to do a 5-minute opening skit with an actual Bowser on the screen, and it didn't seem like he gave a shit about it.
No, he felt like. It felt like Lex Luthor, like, hamming it up for the camera.
Right.
Honestly did. And it's not because he's white and bald, which he is, and he looks like Lex Luthor, which he does. It's because he just, like, he sat there, he looked like someone has pointing a gun at his head making him perform for a camera.
Right.
Which I never got from Reggie.
I mean,
Never, not once.
But presidents of companies don't necessarily need to be the one that performs for people.
It's true, but I feel like
Like-
you have
But he took up that mantle when he took
He-
Reggie's
he-
fucking job.
there's a
Yeah,
legacy
he did.
there.
And was named Bowser by his parents.
Yeah, no, that's like, man.
You got to lean into the silliness, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to at that point.
Yeah.
I
But
think he could have.
Also, not
risked
everybody's
that.
a good actor. Not everybody
Sure,
has that
true.
presentation aspect, but
And
they
he
are
might
a
get better
fucking
at it.
product genius.
Some people have Nintendo money, can take acting lessons.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, you know what? I bet you probably even by just next year he'll find his voice and he'll be good on
Yeah, and
stage.
it takes a little bit. You have to. Nobody's first venture on stage is going to be the best thing that they've ever fucking
Yeah.
done. All
And
right,
obviously he has
It's
more-
gonna-
I don't know. I think Reggie killed it the first time he came out.
Reggie did
I think he
kill
was
it
the one
the
that
first
came out
time.
and said, like, we came here to kick ass and chew bubble gum or something.
Yeah, and he came out with like Jeff Keighley, like way,
Right.
way back in the old E3. And like, yeah, he like he played like a Wii Star Wars game with him where all they did was go like ha ha ha, and like they made such a big deal
This
out
is
of
this
that
is turning.
matchup.
This is quickly turning into the we miss Reggie fucking
I
talk.
miss
Okay.
We do is Reggie,
I
all
miss
right?
Reggie. Bowser, you'll get there.
He will get
You'll
there,
get
I think so. Let's see here. They showed Luigi's Mansion 3, which is going to have couch and online co-op.
They finally gave us Gooigi.
Yeah, that was weird.
I've been waiting. I can't keep doing this. So that was weird. The whole thing was weird. Also, when Luigi puts his consciousness into the goo monster and then falls over flat so the goo monster can roll away, that's Luigi and the goo monster. And then the goo monster suffers a horrific death, and then you're back in Luigi. Existentially, Luigi's Mansion is a fucking Black Mirror episode 9.
It is. It is.
Yeah, well, how crazy. And the fact they announced the co-op version where like one person plays Luigi, the other plays like the slime.
Yeah, and that shit even more problematic. Like, what happens then? Are you both? And now one of you's dead?
Apparently,
Did you
Luigi's-
just watch
What
yourself
happens?
die?
What happens to the internal existence of that character? Like, what happens to their internal like thoughts? Does the goo have sentient thought, or is it mindlessly following? Are
Maybe-
you mindlessly following? There's a lot of existential questions that
This
Luigi's
might be
Mansion
the
is
darkest
questioning.
Mario series game ever.
Not that Luigi's Mansion wasn't dark before, but this is way darker, guys.
It's called Luigi's Mansion 3 Existential Nightmare.
Yeah. Black Mirror 5, Luigi's Mansion 3.
Why not? Like, at this point, why not? Fuck it. I don't care.
They showed off a new game called Daemon X Machina. It's a new IP.
Yeah, that looked cool.
It looks really cool. Very Zone of the Enders feel
It
to
reminded me a lot of Armored Core 2. I think I remember telling you, like, dude, you're going to fucking love this. Because,
Yeah, that
like,
looks real fun.
giant mechs doing giant mech stuff, right?
Yeah.
But in, like, a really anime sort of way.
And that's coming on September 13th, so that's right around the corner, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. No More Heroes 3.
Yeah, but it looks like an actual No More Heroes game, not like a weird puzzle solver like No More Heroes 2 was.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
So
exciting.
No More Heroes 1 was an amazing game. That's just Suda 51 levels of ridiculous. So if this one is more of that, then you can just give me more of that Doom Eternal style. Sometimes your game is so good, all I want is more of it.
That's true. They had some weird shit in there, like the Pokeball Plus controller can be used with Pokemon Sword and Shield, so that you can like put a Pokemon into your controller and then carry it around with you into the world, and it actually makes the Pokemon do things. I have never really played a Pokemon game for more than 5 minutes.
Same.
So I just assume this is a really fun thing that people want to do.
I guess.
Like, that just sounds like
don't wanna-
the evolution of the fucking Dreamcast, the little fucking Tamagotchi thing that they had inside of it.
True.
And you could put little game save files that you like upgrade by walking around or whatever.
The
or
VMUs,
theoretically,
yeah.
No, this is where that technology's gone to, and it's gone to a very silly place.
Yeah.
You know
Which
what?
is, it was
though?
vented in a very silly place
Yeah,
to begin
and
with,
it's
so
just gonna
it's
end up-
fine.
yeah.
It's it's not for me, but cool.
That is where we saw the new Contra for the first time, isn't it?
Right? Can we? I don't think I have that in the notes. A new Contra game.
Yeah.
Konami. A new Contra game.
And like, okay, so the Contra collection looks really fucking cool because it's a lot of the Contra games and a lot of the best ones.
Right.
Can I say that new Contra looked a little,
Silly.
hey there, fellow kids? There was a little bit like, hey, you know, Borderlands and like Rage 2, y'all like that recently, right? And you know, Devolver, you guys like sarcastic, funny,
You like neon
quirky
colors and
characters.
sarcasm.
Well, now they're in Contra.
You know
One
what,
of them
though?
was a bug.
Weirdly, so for the past, I don't know, since we've been doing the show, every E3 prediction, I've always said that I want a new Contra game.
You
Yeah.
have one.
And it has
one
pandas.
of the stars is
And now I get one.
One of the stars
and
is
I
a-
don't necessarily want it.
insect that is a proper English gentleman, I guess. Oh, to be fair, it
has a panda.
In the
But-
in the Sega Genesis version of Contra. One of the characters was, I believe, either a wolf or a kangaroo. So that's fine. I think we're going in.
I don't remember.
This is my
Okay
big
direction.
thing about
Sure.
this
Sounds
is that
about right.
only Nintendo could be like so bold is to get Konami to drop a new game, a game studio that has not made video game for years, drop a brand new title on their platform and like not even act like it's a big deal. It's
They
like-
didn't come out and
it's
we're like, "Yo, guys,
Like,
Contra."
why,
They were
why
just
isn't
like,
Contra the biggest thing at E3? Because I've been asking for a new Contra game for years. Literally years.
The reason it's not the biggest thing at E3 is because Keanu Reeves exists.
Yeah.
okay.
He's just the perfect human.
So-
We'll get there.
We have they showed off more of Dragon Quest 11S Definitive Edition that has like 15 titles.
that was you
that's
lost
okay.
me.
That's not even
You
the
lost me
Dragon
so
Quest
long.
games are such a huge deal in Japan.
They are.
You like it is like when you buy a Dragon Quest game, like the Japanese government had to ask the developers of Dragon Quest not to release their games during the week.
Yes.
Because people would take off
people
work.
would call out
Yes.
work the next day.
Yes.
You're
These-
literally it's like when Google made the
So,
Pac-Man
that's
thing.
why-
They're like, you
You're
lost
talk-
millions
you're
of
talking
hours
about
of man hours.
150-hour RPGs that people will literally, one will come out and people, as their lives, will come home and
play that and never do anything but
maybe
do
eat
that.
some dinner and
That's
spend the
that's
afternoon
why it was
just
such a big
hanging out in
deal
Dragon
that,
Quest.
that Square and Enix merged because it was like you have the two biggest JRPG developers and now they are a
No,
thing.
no, I remember
Yeah.
back when they merged, it was like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like this is a big expansion for the last iteration of Dragon Quest, which had its ups and downs, but was apparently a very good game.
Yeah.
Which apparently, when it launched, had a bad soundtrack, well, bad quality audio soundtrack, and then they like re-recorded it with like orchestras and shit, and now it's incredible. But yeah, Dragon Quest is a much beloved series, and they brought back their slime controller from the
know.
PlayStation
I didn't get one
for the Switch.
I didn't get one the first time. I might have to get one this time.
Ooh, I know.
Kind of excited about
It's so
that.
cool.
But Dragon Quest 11S has like the longest title in the
Oh
world.
yeah, I didn't even write it all down.
It's something like
too many
Dragon
things.
Quest like 11S Echoes of Eternity Definitive Edition 365 slash
No scope
Yeah.
420.
right.
Scope
It's,
420.
it's ridiculous.
Smoke blunts every day.
Triple X Pennywise.
This and Kingdom Hearts are
We're
just
just turning-
fighting for like the.
See,
These are all
that's
our
actually my
AOL
biggest
names.
problem with JRPGs for the longest time now. It's literally turning into ridiculous gamer tag the game. Like, just stop. Just fucking stop. Like,
Yeah.
to quit adding up your stupid words to fucking titles
Look,
of things.
when we called the first,
You know what works well? The number 3. That's what works well.
So speaking of the number 3, The Witcher 3 is coming to the Switch.
The Witcher 3 is coming to the Switch.
Yeah,
Bold.
that's odd.
I can't. Okay, so not only is The Witcher 3 coming to the Switch, but they announced Doom Eternal for the Switch. I don't know how the fuck they're doing that, but they're doing it.
They're somehow making
I would
the
not
hardware
want to
better for the
play
Switch.
Doom Eternal on a Switch.
There is
You know-
some engineering going on behind the scenes here that is insane.
Like, I played a Switch. I don't want to play Doom Eternal on a Switch.
But heard the thing about it.
Heard the news.
Going into The Witcher 3, having almost finished The Witcher 2 at this point, Hector's been telling me about the length and the breadth of The Witcher 3, and it's pretty
Monstrous.
fucking...
I mean, I'm pretty sure he told you about the length and the girth of The Witcher 3 too.
well,
Girth is breadth.
he actually did just buy a Geralt in a bathtub statue that he has on his work
No.
desk.
You goddamn
Yeah.
right it did. It was $80 and I regret nothing.
Can you flick the peener? Can you like just
It's underwater, you
Yeah, but like
pervert.
maybe it's just if penises float.
He's taking a bath. Balls float. Penises don't float.
Penises float. Penis.
Penis is
I
weird.
fucking
We are
disagree.
not
I
that
will take a
podcast.
bath right now and show you the penises float.
We can't do that on Twitch. Dr. Disrespect got fucking banned for going into a public bathroom.
That's a private bathroom. It's different.
The Witcher 3 on the Switch, when I saw that, I went, that might be the thing that makes me actively want to play it. Not that I wouldn't want to play The Witcher 3 otherwise.
Right, but you can play it on the go.
You
wherever
can just
go.
be like, I'm gonna lay in bed and do a mission and just put it down.
Yeah,
Right,
which
like-
you won't.
Like,
But,
like
you
as
know,
somebody
you
who
will.
works,
That's
Yeah.
your goal.
9 hours at my desk,
Mm-hmm.
coming home and thinking about trying to take on a 150-hour RPG while sitting at a desk in an office chair again, I like that's intimidating to me.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me that like I could like I don't know, like watch some anime and fucking play The Witcher, then
Yeah,
cool, I'm down with
do
that.
it on your
Like,
couch while you watch like a show that.
See, I
Doesn't
feel
really
like
matter that
I feel like
much.
that's the
Yeah.
point of Stadia. Stadia is the like you can just go anywhere with it. It's,
Well,
it's
see, and that's the thing with Stadia. Like, the thing about Stadia for me is I don't have a lot of second screens in my life. I have my phone, I have a tablet. And it's pretty much, for all intents and purposes, my bed tablet. It's how I fall asleep. I don't really take that anywhere in the house.
it's your porn tablet. We know.
I don't watch porn in my bed. Who are you? Like, who does that?
Don't tell me you're just jerking off in a chair like a fucking Neanderthal. We invented beds, these fluffy, wonderful places you can lay back and just knock one out.
Anyway, so no, I totally get being able to like put on an episode of a show, like a comedy show you're just going through that you like, but you can also play a Witcher mission in the background. There's no better way, I think, to experience The Witcher 3.
It's way less intimidating for me. I mean, going back and playing Kingdom Hearts again, I was thinking, man, like there's so much I wanted to do in Kingdom Hearts I never got to do the first time because I never got the ultimate weapon. I never beat Sephiroth.
Right.
But that game is long.
Oh god, fucking
It was
scrub.
like- but
Sorry, as a person who like 100% of that game multiple times for multiple people,
that's
it's just like, oh my god, it was so easy to do. Mind you, it took the entire week, so it's super not easy to do,
Right.
but it was easy to do.
That was the old kids playing Diablo 1 who were like, it only takes a month to hit level 99. Just get good.
right. But I have a Vita, and so the
Yeah.
prospect of picking up Kingdom Hearts was no longer daunting to me because I was like, I'm just going to stream Kingdom Hearts to my Vita. I'm going to watch something on my TV and call it a day. I'll
Honestly,
turn on the
that's
Expanse
the reason
and
why
fine.
I kind of want to switch. I'd rather play Kingdom Hearts 3 on a Switch than I would playing it on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
I would much rather just be like, what do you like? I'm gonna watch TV, lay on the couch, and press some buttons while I kill fucking Heartless.
Do you have, because it's in my notes and we haven't gotten to it yet, do you have Astral Chain on your list?
No,
do
what's that?
not. Do not.
That's the Platinum game being developed for the Switch. The one where you are an anime character with a ghost on a chain and you are a combat team, and it's a Platinum game, a la original, like Bayonetta. All the best fighters.
Oh, cool.
All the best fighters.
Yeah,
Platinum.
Okay.
yeah, I remember the video for that. That looked cool as
So
shit.
Astral Chain, I cannot wait for because I'm a giant nerd for Platinum games. So Near Automata, a good example.
I have been told that I need to play the fuck out of this game.
You would geek out forever about this game. I'm like of all the people this game appeals to, it's you.
Oh, really?
You are the audience for that game. You really are. For real, Astral Chain looks amazing, and I can't wait to play it. It
Okay.
does feel like Zone of the Enders.
I mean, anything that's Zone of the Enders, I'm on board with because I am a giant Zone of the Enders fan.
I love
like
Zone
the
of the
original
Enders back
Zone
in
of
the
the
day.
Enders was my fucking jam. I loved it.
All like 7 hours of it.
Hey, you know what? It was brilliant.
It was brilliant. No lie, it was a lot of fun.
We did find out that Resident Evil 5 and 6 are coming to the Switch.
Cool.
5,
I mean,
5 I'm into. 6
5
I'm
is good. 6 was garbage.
6 is one of the few Resident Evils I've never finished.
It's the only one I've never
0 and 6 are the two that I've never finished.
I never finished 6 because I finished 7 recently. So yeah,
I'm waiting on 7 because I was wanting to play it in VR.
7's amazing, but yeah, 6. is
Weirdly,
the only-
yeah, I've been waiting on 7 because I want to play it in VR, and I feel like it's the only way to experience it. But there's no other game that, like, unlike a Switch where it's like $200 and I can get
First
one.
of all, 2 guys in their mid to late 30s playing Resident Evil 7 in VR just sounds like Heart Attack City. Because that game is very scary.
Well, I'm totally down for that.
I'm gonna lay in bed and do it.
I was excited
It's
because
just
they
a-
did.
Lay in bed, so like I'm playing 7. It's fun.
Horizontal heart attack.
Yeah.
They did announce a remake of
What did you
Panzer
do my
Dragoon.
first?
Yes, Panzer
Okay.
Dragoon.
Yeah.
Not
Very
not
blunt
something that was going to be expected. Like that
We
was
haven't-
not on anybody's like
We haven't
death,
seen a
death-
Panzer
death-
Dragoon
death list.
game on the screen at E3 since the Xbox 360.
Yeah, I am a person who cherishes and loves his Sega Saturn. I have like a giant import library of Sega Saturn games. I have broken more Sega Saturn controllers just by playing them so much. So seeing Panzer Dragoon come back is kind of near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
But we need to talk about the thing that I was so excited to bring up during this, and that is the new Dark Crystal game.
Okay.
The one that I knew that Tony's gonna be like, a Dark Crystal game? That's exciting.
So as soon as I saw that, I was like, ooh, a Dark Crystal game. Someone text Tony. Oh no, it's a tactics game. Don't text Tony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why is it a tactics game? I
Why?
don't even know. I don't get it. The
don't-
Dark Crystal
The
is
Dark
about
Crystal.
like puppets and cool
The
dudes
Dark
who like
Crystal,
run on
the Dark
stilts.
Crystal, the most RPG of fucking stories you could really tell. There's fucking puppets going on a fucking RPG adventure to go kill the fucking bad guys that took their fucking crystal. Like, okay, I'm fucking destroying the story of the Dark Crystal, but it's such an RPG-esque story that you're gonna turn into a tactics game. What the fuck is wrong with you? What the holy fuck are you doing wrong with your life that you think that this needs to be a tactics game?
So this
Well,
is
I'm
I
on
also-
board with it.
hate tactics games.
This is the
so-
reason there were a lot of Marvel games before now, but none of them mattered, is because they took the license and just shopped it out to bullshit. That's what just happened to the Dark Crystal. And as much as I cannot
I
wait
wish
to
that
watch the next
Netflix had,
series.
Netflix had been like, "Hey, we're gonna put a little bit of control on this because we have Stranger
Right.
Things and we
Right.
know what adults actually want."
So it doesn't belong to Netflix, I don't think.
It doesn't. It doesn't. But you think they'd be like, "Hey
I
guys,
hope so.
you don't know what you're doing.
What
Let
we
us
got-
Netflix influence where your choices
What
should
we
go."
got is the equivalent of Captain Planet or not even something good like the Ninja Turtles, but something really bad like
Captain Planet.
There's just really like video game translatable cartoons put into video games on the SNES. That's what this Dark
Right.
Crystal game feels like.
any
Hey, it
any
might be
movie
good.
adaptation
could be
video
good.
game in the fucking early to mid 90s.
Right.
I love
there you
tactics.
fucking
And
go.
I'm a little bit with Tony
Yeah,
on this
you,
because
you
I'm
like
not
tactic
I'm-
games.
I'm-
That's for you. Unfortunately,
I'm not
most
into
people are
tactic
not
games.
into tactic games. Most people also aren't into Dark Crystal. So I feel like the Venn diagram of people who like tactical games and people that like Dark Crystal,
It's me.
it's barely
It's me.
touching fingernails.
Right.
Like
So-
it's such a not bubble touching.
It's like somehow we had this like video games in the Dark Crystal Venn diagram that was like super overlapping, and it was like,
Yeah, people like
we
both
need to
of those
marry
things.
these and just smush them together, and someone's like tactics game.
Yeah, no, just they turned
Now-
into boobs. They went from like single circle to boobs. They're on the opposite sides.
went
They're
from a-
not. They're
we
not.
went from
They're near each other, but not quite.
We went from quality Uniboo
We're explaining Venn diagrams in a radio show. This is very
to a
odd.
pair of just normal tits, and while normal tits are great, and I'm sure lots of people like them,
Uniboob.
I would have loved a Uniboob.
So they did show off a game called Empire of Sin. It's John Romero's game studio, Romero Games.
Yeah.
It's a 1930s film noir, like XCOM game.
Yeah.
You want to talk about things that are in my Venn diagram?
Yeah,
tell you.
Robert Rodriguez and like
Let me tell you.
fucking XCOM gameplay,
Right, like-
and like film noir. I mean,
Like, yeah, please.
shit.
I'm here for all
It
of that.
looked like the Sunken City was made into
And
an
you know,
XCOM
I'm not.
game.
I'm not angry that all these tactics games are getting released for the Switch though, because I feel like it's such
Me
a perfect
neither.
platform for it.
It's a renaissance. But there,
Yeah, no, because
people
they
who
need
like,
they need a little bit more power than a cell phone can provide. Because cell phones do other things,
Right, but
and you want a little bit bigger screen to play with them on. phone, and you want them on the go.
Right, so
Like, it makes
outside of,
it makes perfect sense. I get why they're there.
Yeah.
I just
Outside of, like,
not the audience
really,
for it.
Really historical, like Rome, blah blah blah. We haven't had really good tactics games, much less square-based tactics RPGs in a long time outside of Japan. And now that we're getting them, I'm happy for the people getting them.
I mean,
who
Hex
like
Tactics makes
Could
more
we
sense. though,
please
based
bring
on
Dragon
movement, but,
Force
you
back
know.
to the States? Like, God, please.
them. Maybe.
So we should talk very briefly, at least, about Link's Awakening, the Switch remake. We knew that it was coming. It is fucking gorgeous.
Here are the rumors I've heard. One major one, the really big one, is people are thinking because of the trailer, because of the way Zelda was stylized, that she didn't look like she did in original Breath of the Wild.
Oh, no, you're talking about the wrong game.
You said
Wrong-
what are you
wrong
talking
Zelda
about?
Link's
game.
Awakening.
Link's Awakening. Oh,
Link's Awakening is the remake of Link's Awakening.
yeah.
You're
That-
DS
talking about the sequel that we haven't gotten
my
to
bad,
yet.
Breath of the Wild. We'll get to
Because
that later.
weirdly, this E3 had more games fucking just shown, I think, than any E3 I've ever fucking.
Yeah, no, you're right. I did that super wrong. So
We're way into fucking time on this, and we're still not fucking done.
I don't know. Game looks good. I don't know what to say about Link's Awakening other than I'm here for it.
Other than the fact-
a remake of Link's Awakening,
Custom
like
dungeon mode?
yeah. Oh well, custom dungeon. Okay. So we've had dungeon creators for a long time, but being able to literally Lego block one together in The Legend of Zelda is actually a really big deal.
Yeah. I think it's really cool to be able to make your own Zelda levels.
There's a part of me that believes that you could take the Assassin's Creed Odyssey quest creator and use that as like a stepping stone to learn how to make something as beautiful and simple as a Legend of Zelda dungeon.
Right.
Which takes so much information and so much knowledge to make something that simple, that good. I don't know. There's because like you can take like any quest in any open world game, like Assassin's Creed. Some of them will be golden, most of them will be shit. And so once you learn what the difference is, when you can really make a Zelda dungeon as purely as they did in like Link's Awakening and Link
Yeah.
to the Past and stuff like that, where they all flow and they all feel right and they all feel like real places, I feel like that's kind of an ultimate step right there. And there's something really awesome about kids having access to that.
Absolutely. We need to knock a couple of these out so we can truck right along. Animal Crossing New Horizon for Switch was delayed, and they apologized for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that game's literally never coming out. So.
Gilligan's Animal Crossing. I'm into it.
Nintendo's very good about apologizing for things.
They are. They
though.
apologized for Metroid last year or the year before?
Yeah, last year.
Last year.
Yeah. So Banjo-Kazooie and Dragon Quest Hero character have been added to Smash Ultimate.
Okay, big deal. Banjo-Kazooie and Smash. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
I think having the Dragon Quest Hero in there is pretty important.
Dragon
too.
Quest Hero has actually way better skins,
Yeah.
and Dragon Quest Hero
I'm just
is
saying
awesome.
that Rare has ties to Microsoft. When is Master Chief coming to Smash?
That would be
Are,
okay.
are guns allowed in Smash?
Yes,
They are,
Solid
yes.
Snake throws grenades and shoots a
Okay.
Nikita launcher.
All right. Like,
So, yes.
I want Master Chief.
Also, lots
with-
of the characters have guns.
I want Master Chief with a fucking energy sword, just fucking gutting bitches. Be like,
That'll be a power up when he's added.
Okay, so I guess to dial it back to what Hector was talking about, the presentation for Nintendo wrapped up on a not coming soon but in development, which is
we've gotten. There was a distinct. There was a noticeable number of in development things shown at this year's E3, but it was more so every company had like maybe at max 3
Well,
of
because-
in development stuff. They showed you things that are expected to come out this year or next year,
Right.
And that's it.
Because they can't show anything beyond that.
Yeah.
Because if they did, it would all be next gen graphics and everyone would be like, there it is.
Yeah, and I feel like again,
tried to do it
was
with
a,
Halo.
this was a stopgap
Right,
year.
but we'll get to the Halo thing.
We're not to Microsoft yet. And
Right.
That's at the end of the Microsoft.
We're about to be, but real quick, they showed a sequel to Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild.
They did. And so,
Weirdly, I want to play it.
as I was getting to it, and I'm glad you stopped me. So, when they showed it, it looked a little bit like Link wasn't in his best shape in the trailer, and Zelda's hair was noticeably shorter and tied up, which a lot of people pointed out would make it easier to render without clipping, making this be the first Legend of Zelda game actually starring Zelda, if that's the direction they're going,
Yeah.
which would be not only an enormous stepping stone in the franchise and something people have wanted for decades,
Yeah.
but Also, just like the smartest decision Nintendo has ever made with one of their peak franchises, because most of their franchises, Mario and Zelda and everything else included, are known for beating dead horses.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in where this could change the Legend of Zelda storyline.
Yeah.
What this could do. It just looks like a very fun game to play.
It does.
honestly. And
I love the horror element that it had to it. I'm excited about
I,
that.
I overall, I think I might get a Switch just so I can play Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah.
But
There'll be
this
one
will
in
be
the
a
park.
fun game that, you know what, isn't the only reason I have a Switch laying around. That and probably Diablo.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'll just keep buying Diablo and everything it comes out on.
Well, just
All
don't get Diablo. Just get Minecraft Dungeons
Oh,
instead.
God,
I don't
yes.
think we've mentioned that yet.
Well, it's because it's in the Microsoft section. We
Is
haven't
it?
gotten there yet.
It's kind of on everything, though. It'll be on everything.
It was shown on Nintendo as well.
It was shown on Nintendo, but it was initially announced at the Microsoft show.
Right.
There's a game called Minecraft Dungeons.
It's Diablo
That
and
if you like
Minecraft.
Diablo and Minecraft, well, they fucked and had a baby. It's exactly what you think it is.
And without sounding, too much of the wrong podcast, I'm super into that baby.
This is definitely not that podcast. All right.
This isn't Doctor whatever the fuck's fun bathroom with children time.
We need to get into the last topic for E3, our biggest one probably, and that was Microsoft showing.
Yeah.
So we'll just jump right in. There, of course, one of the big reveals was Project
Wait,
Scarlet.
Sorry.
You're gonna jump at the end.
I don't mean, because I know you mean this to be the end, and this can't come after. There was a PC video gaming conference.
There was.
We saw a lot of indie games, some of the most interesting games I've seen in the whole conference. A lot of interesting indie stuff. But that's also where they announced the Shenmue 3 thing. Shenmue 3 was kickstarted a long time ago on the Sony stage. That Kickstarter announced that it would be coming out to consoles.
Because I remember that was weird because it was the Sony stage and you're like, hey, we're doing a Kickstarter. You're like, but you have Sony money. Okay.
Right, but they don't. It wasn't like Sony wasn't publishing this bitch.
Yeah, Sony
We're not
wasn't
just
pub-
gonna make you a new Shenmue game. That was Dreamcast.
They just Sony gave them enough money to show up on their stage. Is what happened.
So what happened was they came out during the PC conference and they're like, Shenmue 3, y'all remember Shenmue 3? And they're like, yeah, we fucking remember Shenmue 3. Fucking thank you finally for showing it to us. Let's see it. And they're like, so here's what about Shenmue 3. We're not showing you any of it. Go fuck yourself. Also,
it's like the opposite of what you're supposed to do at E3.
Also, all the back money you paid into it, you got to pick which console version you wanted. Did you want an Xbox or a Sony?
Yeah, Xbox or
a
PlayStation.
PC. And the PC keys were literally listed as Steam keys. It was like, you will get a
As it should be,
Steam
because
product
even though I
ID.
don't like Steam, it's still the best option currently.
Right, you'll get a Steam product ID. They announced this week that it will not be on Steam. It will be on the Epic Game Store exclusively, which probably netted them a lot of money. Here's the problem. In the middle of your development, you switched which platform your game would be on, which is a dick move. Fine, okay. Companies make dick moves all the time. The real problem is the people on Kickstarter who are clamoring, saying, I will not play this game on the Epic Store, therefore I want a refund, are getting hit with the radio silence. And they're getting nothing.
Like I would be one of those people because I don't like the Epic Store. If
Right.
this was exclusive to the Epic Store the way a bunch of games have been, which means they're also on the Microsoft Store for some reason, then I'd be like, cool, give me a Microsoft code. Give me anybody but except for Epic code.
Right, we literally
I
have...
will play it anywhere, almost anywhere other than Epic.
Right, well, we literally have a gamer who plays professionally in chat saying he wants his money back. It's a big deal.
And he deserves to get his money back.
He does.
Whenever you say, we're releasing this game, it's like, cool, but you didn't release it on the thing that I wanted you to, so give me my money. I feel like this is going to be turned into a class action lawsuit. I really do. I feel like enough people will come together and go, you literally changed where you're releasing this game, and we pre-backed it, and then you made a change without informing us. We deserve our money back.
And not to get too far into the Epic Store controversy, because that's a whole different podcast for a whole different show.
They're a piece of shit.
But they've done this in the past. They did it with Metro Exodus. There was a big kerfuffle about it. And it's been showing here and there that Epic just isn't playing nice. And as much as they're obviously... at least up front, favorable to developers who are developing games, they have been strictly anti-consumer since.
Well, yeah, drug dealers really want to get you hooked there at the beginning, so they can, fuck you over later.
Like I said, they seem pro-developer, but at the same time anti-consumer, and I think you can't be both and live for very long.
You can't. You're gonna choose one side or the other,
so-
and you can definitely tell that they're gonna choose the side of being anti-consumer.
So with that out of the way, and with that in your head, let's go to the good news of the Microsoft.
Okay,
conference.
yes.
Sure. So to answer your initial question, Tony, you were like, well, why would you talk about the...
Yeah, you're jumping in with fucking Project Scarlet,
Right.
Yeah.
the next gen console, whenever they had a whole presentation before that.
And I would,
They did.
and the reason for it is because they didn't tell us shit about it.
We got nothing.
we got Battletoads. That was definitely
that's not an advertisement for Project Scarlet.
Fuck you! I wanted I
okay,
got
so-
Battletoads and I got Battletoads. I'm like,
No,
fuck
no, no,
yes,
no,
this
no.
looks cool.
Okay, so first of all, like I'm like half am Battletoads because
Really?
they changed the art style so
I-
hard that
I'm okay
a-
with that.
I'm. It's not that I'm
it's
not
a
okay
super
with it.
90s art style, or it's a retro 90s art
But
style.
it's not
our
because in the 90s the Battletoads look like Battletoads, not like
exactly.
Ninja Turtles.
But if you look at the way you took Battletoads and Ninja Turtles look very similar in the 90s, and you look at the way they've changed graphically over the time, this makes sense. It's the remembrance of the 90s
Yeah, and-
art style.
I'm good.
And I'm fine with it. You grab me a beer, please.
You
Thank
don't have to defend it to me because I'm not against the new art style for Battletoads.
Yeah, no, it's
what
fine.
I'm saying is they just threw it up on stage and it was very jarring to me. And
Because you were expecting the fully 3D rendered, kind of like traditional Battletoads.
I was expecting at least a good modern graphical representation of the sprites I used to get in Battletoads. I expected them
Honestly,
to at least look.
I'm expecting there to be skins where you can turn them into shitty fucking.
I
8-bit
expected them to
graphics.
at least look like their former incarnations. You know, remember the backlash when Ninja Turtles came out, the CG one, and they're like, these things don't look
Yeah,
like
these don't
turtles
look-
at all.
these don't look like- they
These
still don't look like turtles.
They don't. And these guys didn't look like my Battletoads. Granted, they looked
They
fine.
still look like fucking frogs, so at least they're closer than Ninja Turtles.
They look like comic book cartoon drawings of frogs rather than 8-bit like cartoon like animation.
we keep saying 8-bit, we actually really mean like 16-bit.
We
No,
do.
it was
I
eight-
guess-
it was 8-bit.
It was
Was it
8-bit. No,
8-bit?
they were on Nintendo
16,
NES.
16
were
bit,
they?
16-bit was the arcade.
For some reason, I kept thinking they were 16, but we
Right.
kept saying 8.
I'm,
But
always,
that's
so-
a
I'm always
go-to
ready to
argument.
fact check y'all on video games.
There you go. So yeah, so I'm not upset with Battletoads. I'm fully willing to play it. I just I'll play it on PC.
Okay, so now that we've knocked the Battletoads discussion out of the way,
Yeah, I'm glad we. That's
Okay, I have to. Brooklyn just said it's like he brought up one of the biggest meme complaints about Project Scarlet. Project Scarlet, they showed off a bunch of the new hardware specs, and they were saying like you can run games up to 120 frames per second.
First, immediately before that, we have to get this timeline right.
Yes.
Immediately before they mentioned the frame rate, they said we're seeing frame rates that we've never seen before. We're seeing capabilities that we've never seen before. And then immediately after, they said we're seeing frame rates up to 120.
Which on console is unheard of, and secondly, this is specifically the new HDMI standard that they're going off of.
It's
whenever
only-
they talked about 8K graphics and they talked about 120 frames per second.
It's literally
that is
just
the-
what an HDMI capable is capable of.
It's what the new HDMI standard will be that most TVs don't have and game consoles super
Right, you're
don't
talking
have.
about
It's
display
the next
cable.
version of
Right.
HDMI, not DisplayPort, because I don't expect TVs to
no,
get
no,
DisplayPort
the
anytime
whole
soon.
okay. That entire like
But-
employees. No.
I'm
They-
explaining it because
No.
they didn't explain it.
I understand
That's
you're
what I
explaining
want.
it, but here's my deal, and Brooklyn's making the same point in chat. They talked about Project Scarlet. They're like, "Here's Project Scarlet," and
Yeah.
then they had a bunch of their Microsoft employees talk about how fucking
Yeah, they did the thing that I hate with the fucking little
Yes.
round lens.
They-
They're like,
they-
we're
let
gonna
me-
sit here and talk to the camera, and it's gonna be this little
Right.
piano thing going in the background. I fucking hate that
But
shit.
all they did was talk about how like dick-bustingly amazing their console was, while getting it wrong. Now the frame rate thing wasn't the only gaffe. One person said, "We have." The combination of having a fastest solid state drive and the fastest SSD will
Yeah.
make the combination of those
I don't
two.
know how that got put
We're
through.
seeing the greatest capabilities you've ever seen in a
redundant.
console.
It's literally the SSD is fucking solid. It's what SSD stands for.
So they literally gave us
so
no
aggravating.
actual information and a bunch of fluff blown directly up our
Well,
asses.
the thing
In
we
that
did
one
already
video,
know.
the rest of the conference was good.
Yeah.
This one thing
The
was
stupid,
so
the,
much
the
bullshit.
fluff video, the fucking the soft hand jobs of fucking videos that they put out was bad. It was fucking awful. And it was meant to. We're gonna give you hype for people who don't understand what actually was going on.
Do you understand why I put this at the beginning of the Microsoft?
Yes, and I'm
segment?
glad you did.
Because there's so much of the shit that I did enjoy about the
Yes,
Microsoft con.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I wanna-
But
and
now
that-
you're just making me angry about the one thing that they did was
Right,
like,
right,
it was kind of
but
bad.
he's about to make us happy about the
I wanna-
good stuff. But this, everything they said about Project Scarlet,
That's gonna be
they
like, I'm
could
gonna
have
burn
not
you a
said.
little bit, and then I'm gonna give you a soft hand job.
And then, well, it's a compliment sandwich.
Have you met our show? That's basically
Yeah.
what our show is.
We start
Yeah.
with the bad shit because we want to end with good vibes.
We're no longer called the Surly Nerd. We're like, would you like to be burned, and then we give you a hand job?
Yeah.
That's the name of our show now.
I'm gonna change the name. It's just called soft hand
We could
job.
do like burns and a hand job, and it could be like
Burns and a hand job.
It would be like an iteration on shaving a haircut.
There you go.
Burns hand job.
Okay, so we got to
It's got a
talk
moment
about
at the end.
the happiest elephant in the room.
Ah.
CD Projekt Red showed up at the Microsoft conference.
They just showed up and they showed some in-engine footage of basically a cutscene.
It was a cutscene.
There was no gameplay involved.
Right.
It was obviously an engine because that's a little bit better, but the same graphical fidelity that we saw last year. So, but we saw a cutscene in the game and it looked interesting, but it was mostly a teaser. And then something happened.
Then Keanu Reeves came out.
I mean, Keanu
Well,
Reeves,
Keanu Reeves came
on
out
the stage.
digitally,
Digitally, yes.
and
First
everybody
he
lost
came
their
out
shit.
digitally, and everyone was like, "Finally, we have good Keanu Reeves in a video game." In 1990, they gave me Ted Theodore Logan.
We
In
did get some Bill and Ted games,
in 1999,
and a Bill and Ted cartoon, which was great.
or maybe like 2001, we got Neo. He looked like
And the Matrix
shit.
Online,
And the
which
Matrix
was
Online. Neo was
an
in
idea.
The Matrix Online.
Also Into the Matrix, which was bad.
Enter the Matrix was
That's
a
what it was.
terrible game with with an okay Neo.
Yeah.
But now we get full rendered, fully just handsome as all fuck, beautiful human being Keanu Reeves.
Possibly dateable.
Definitely dateable.
I meant in the game, not in real life.
Oh,
He's
maybe.
obviously dateable in real life.
Yeah.
Just possibly dateable in the game.
Sitting there on screen, being
You got
like,
that robot arm.
he basically took off his glasses with his robot arm and was like, "Hey, I'm Keanu Reeves. What's up?"
Sup, bro?
And you were like, why does my character suddenly have an erection?
Yeah, it's a woman. How did that happen?
So, obviously, Keanu Reeves being in Cyberpunk is a big deal, but I think the bigger thing
Because
that
now he's literally in everything that's ever been Cyberpunk.
He is
the bigger thing
all of the
here
best things.
is that they did come out and say there is a definitive release date for
Yes, we
Cyberpunk.
got a release date,
Yep.
which I'm literally planning my next PC upgrade around.
I knew that we were going to get it in 2020 just because my brain went.
Yeah.
That's when the original game was set.
Yep.
They're going to take their time with it and make it right, so they'll set it in 2020 when the original game.
I was hoping 2077 because that's when the game says it's supposed to be
I
released
don't want it to come
in the
out when I'm
title.
dead.
The world will have been ended by then.
I was gonna say it'll all be China by then.
Yeah, so the worst thing, or the best thing of anything in E3 was really Keanu Reeves coming out. That was pretty fantastic. We were all excited about that. But shortly thereafter, we found out that Double Fine Studios, Tim Schafer's studios,
Yeah.
is joining Xbox Studios.
That's right. It's one of
weirdly.
their
All right, so
new,
this is one thing that
captions.
we watched. We watched individually. Like we didn't watch this as a group.
Yeah. Well, we watched it as
yeah,
a
you
group.
watched as a group.
You were fucking off at home with your hangover.
Yeah, I was hungover and because I had a party the night before.
So did he. And he
Yeah.
showed up.
I woke up and 30 minutes. I got ready and I turned on the TV, watching the pre-show. Get on there, and then fucking Phil Spencer comes out and he's wearing
Yeah.
basically a Psychonaut shirt.
That's okay. So
And
I
I went-
noticed that too,
And
I
I
didn't say
immediately
anything
went.
at the time.
I immediately went. Oh fuck! They bought Double Fine.
See, I
and
noticed-
no one was around to hear me go. Oh fuck! I know what's coming later
See,
on the show.
I would have super geeked out with you because I saw this shirt and my first thought was, "Fuck, that looks like that." First of all, that looks like Double Fine artwork, and it's
Yeah.
a brain.
It's like that's Psychonauts.
Are they gonna just? My first thought was they're gonna show a Psychonauts 2 trailer. That's badass. I guess they're digging deep into their indies and like publishing
Yeah.
them. I didn't think for a second that
No,
they had
I
just
immediately
bought
went
Double
to.
Fine.
I immediately went to based on the acquisitions they've had over the last 2 years now.
So-
So they're like, holy fuck!
Let's
This is amazing for Double Fine.
Right,
It
it
is.
is. So let's break down some of the implications of this because this is kind of important. First off, Double Fine was interviewed outside of the E3 press conference and was asked very point blank. Psychonauts 2 was announced on every platform.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to be released on that? And they said, yeah. Microsoft gave us no restrictions. They said you still get to publish
Good
for
guy,
whatever.
Microsoft.
All of the other studios that they've purchased over the past few years have all had games that were in production or in release schedules for multiple platforms.
Yes.
And all of them has said we're still releasing them on every single platform that we said that we were on.
We're looking at you, Shenmue, just putting that out there.
This is gonna be so interesting because here's the scenario that I see
When the makers of Hellblade,
Right, yeah.
they already said no. Our next one's coming out on like PC and
Right.
everything, and they're like,
So-
we're still gonna do it.
So here's the business model like war that I'm seeing here. So if Sony buys like a Naughty Dog and makes an Uncharted or a Last of Us, they release this incredible game that they're gonna hope sells consoles, which sells more games in the future. That's how they make their money. That's how they ensure their future. Microsoft seems to be going in the direction where it's like we buy a studio and we give them the money to make an incredible game, and then we get a cut of that game. no matter where they sell it,
Because they're
Microsoft
just the publisher. At that
or
point.
Microsoft or Sony or PC, which is probably still Microsoft, but it might end up on Steam or
It-
Epic
it
Store.
could end up on a store.
It's going to
Yeah.
be on the Switch, maybe. Like, maybe that's how they make their money. And while I understand why Sony has done this for so long, and maybe it makes them more money in the long run. I don't know the math on these things. But if Microsoft is going in this other direction, I like that direction better.
I do agree with you. That's where it's currently going.
Mm-hmm.
But I also have a feeling that they're like, okay, we're going to release some amazing titles.
I hope.
But then, if you want to play the second part of it, that's a Microsoft. That's an Xbox exclusive.
So I actually have a different.
It turns
opinion.
into you can buy the first
on.
one or whatever you want, but you're getting the second one with
Nope,
us.
nope.
Everyone would hate that.
You're being too mean about this. I
Oh,
think,
I am. Yes, I
think
generally am.
everyone
but
would
yeah.
hate that.
I think this is more of the Hollywood model when Hollywood executives talk to like producers or directors. They do that thing in Hollywood. It's the two for you and one for me,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So you get to film 2 movies of your own, but I get a movie that's my own at the very end of it.
Yeah,
and
the director can be like, "I will make your stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but like I get to one that I get complete and creative control over. I can make whatever thing
Right.
that I want to
So
make."
like the studio
way
makes
I
a
want.
game for everyone that they wanted to make, and then they make that Microsoft.
And then
exclusive.
Microsoft's gonna go,
That's
"You're
a
making
different
one
IP."
for us,
Yeah.
and that one for us had better be better than the other."
Right,
ones.
but it's different. Like if you make you made an incredible IP, now make me one. That's a good model. If it's like, oh, you made Uncharted 3 now that everyone loved and is on every console, but now Uncharted 4 is only this console.
Yeah, so that
I
one-
think everyone would hate that, and it would cause enormous backlash.
I weirdly, but I feel like that's what they're gonna do, though. I do feel like that's what they're gonna do.
So you're saying
yours is an idealized version of the future.
so-
Mine's that we have to fuck somebody over future.
So you're basically saying that Microsoft's ultimately going to be the bad guy when it comes to the console.
Right,
of course they are.
Well, right now they're so much the good guy. If only they can stay that way. If in 2 years I'm sitting here talking about how Sony's the good guy, I'm going to be really disappointed in Microsoft.
Yeah, I'm gonna be really disappointed because Microsoft in this console generation has made great strides. They came out showing off the original Xbox One and be like, "Holy shit, video game fans aren't a fan of this, but I am." Because they were making changes for the internet future that we knew we wanted.
Right.
And now we're living in the thing that they said that they were releasing.
Right.
Everything that they said came true, but we didn't want to believe it at the time. And I'm looking forward to the future. Microsoft's like, we know what you fucking want. You just have to fucking listen to us and believe us just a little bit.
Right, but you
And
say
which
that
makes them kind of feel like the good guy in all of this.
No. You say that, but you know what? Xbox One, yeah, sure, it did have a lot of forward-thinking innovations, but it wasn't right for the time, and that was proven true by everyone hating this console and by this console fucking sucking, which you can't say that it
No,
didn't.
I completely agree with you. And
no,
because-
let me finish. So, Sony going right back into that situation after Microsoft decides to fuck off again and being like, yeah, Sony has a bunch of future shit, but we have what you want right now. Sony will just win all over again, just like they did with the PS4 versus the Xbox One.
I mean, I could see that. I just envision a world where everything sucks. Personally, there's always gonna be a bad side, no matter what, whether it's from Sony or Microsoft.
Even in Black Mirror, there is some good with the bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you every now and then you win the weird VR fucking spaceship and you can travel through the internet, but that generally doesn't happen.
Or you just get to have sex with your best friend on the side.
yeah.
All right,
You know,
spoilers
this,
for Black Mirror, by the way.
in this
Stop.
weird
We'll talk about that later.
in a weird undead
Different
dream
episode.
world.
Console streaming or remote play.
Yes.
So your console can become a server, essentially. I'm using air quotes
Right.
around that. But essentially, your console can stream your Xbox games to your mobile device, your work
Right.
PC.
Yeah, so part of
anything like that.
XCloud, we're getting more information about XCloud.
We got a little bit more. At the
And
conference.
part of that information was we have the ability to stream games to you remotely, but also your current Xbox One or Xbox One X will be an internal server where you can stream it in your house, or you can take it from. Not even take it. You literally
Right.
can stream it to your job. You're like, as long
So-
as you log in, you have access to that processing power.
So right now, I feel like this feels a lot like Google Plus did when it came out. This technology, while it's great and amazing, matters to like 4 people. And everything else needs such a huge explanation that no one's going to adopt this. When Google couldn't really explain what circles were, their social media presence for Google Plus died. It was just a dumb idea.
it was very confusing.
because nobody really understood it. And right now with xCloud, it's like, yeah, this seems like a great thing, but
If they had just said it's
gamers don't need to know what it is, and people who do know what it is don't need to tell you about it. So why is this on the stage? Is all I thought. If they could make it relevant to an individual gamer, then yeah, put it on the stage. Otherwise, it felt like something to show stock.
Yeah, no, I think that's what it was. I think it was stock because it wasn't. xCloud isn't ready yet to fully have a full direct announcement. Like,
Right.
hey, Microsoft is going to show off a full thing about what xCloud is. I feel
Right.
like that's coming later this summer.
You know, this actually harkens back to something that we didn't talk about during the Bethesda show.
Okay.
Is there was that
Oracle?
Oracle or Orion or whatever it is.
Orion, you're right. It was Orion.
It was this piece of technology that's supposed to influence streaming devices.
That's where Will
that
works.
was being displayed for a market that didn't understand and couldn't shit less about it.
No, that
If they had shown that on the PC stage, perfectly fucking fine. Because
Maybe.
AMD showed off new processors and graphics cards on the PC stage, and if Bethesda had shown it, be like, by the way, we are making it your ability to. Our compression algorithm is so great that everybody can stream games wherever. That's where you show that off. Not
Maybe,
in the
but I
middle
don't
of a
know.
conference with a bunch of fucking cell phone games.
If Bethesda came out and showed me a bunch of technology that they said was the best ever, all it would be like, I remember Skyrim at launch. I remember Fallout 76 at launch. You know
is
what,
Fallout
Bethesda?
76?
I'm pretty sure everything you just showed me, like everything you showed me for the Fallout 76 demo, is fucking fake because none of that was in the game.
Which is why I think that had they put it on PC, had they put it on the PC section, it would have had a bigger impact and would have been more informative to that
I think
specific
that would have been
audience.
fair.
But I
That
think
would
it
be-
also would have been more combed through and more, oh wait, no, that was fake.
Yeah.
So let's move on from that. But yeah, the console streaming is pretty interesting. I'm going to knock some out real quick.
Yeah.
Gears of War 5
Hell yeah.
or whatever the new Gears game
On
is.
Xbox Game Pass PC.
Yeah,
looks really cool.
Gears 5. I mean, Gears is one of those just hands. It's a console selling game franchise,
Yeah. Oh,
and it's gotten nothing but better. And that trailer, I super didn't understand because I'm not a Gears fan.
Nobody understood it.
No, the trailer is
Does
weird
anybody?
as fuck. No.
Okay, because like as a person who's not a fan of Gears,
So the
what
best-
the fuck?
best impression,
What the fuck?
The best impression I got from that trailer was the imagery was meant to invoke the Thing.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, in the gameplay that I saw in the later part of E3 where they bring people on stage, there's a lot of body horror, and
Yes,
there's a lot
that's
of...
definitely a part of
And
Gears
there's a
of War.
lot of you cannot, or can maybe, but cannot also trust your partners. So it seemed like there was a lot of the Thing involved, so the idea of like the single character breaking off into like different versions of themselves made a lot
And
of
also,
sense.
I know through some of the storyline that those are like her parents or something, and people she's worked with, and those are all different. They're all parts of
it
her
was a
life.
There's a
generational
lot
leap
there.
through the franchise.
Yeah.
Let's see here. A new Tales of game was announced. It's Bandai Namco's RPG series, super popular. That coming
Oh,
to Xbox. Always a big deal because JRPGs just don't happen.
Yeah.
They showed a game called Elden Ring, which is the collaboration between
George Martin and
George R. R. Martin and Miyazaki, who works on Dark Souls.
Which-
so holy fucking shit.
Yeah, no, like
I mean, we didn't see
for
much of
no
it, but I can't
gameplay,
wait.
for just a weird ass trailer. Which I mean, honestly, everybody who fucking loves Kojima with his Death Stranding trailers should fucking have a hard on for this because
They
it
do.
made no fucking sense.
They do.
It showed you some really cool shit,
do.
and that's it.
The Venn diagram.
so there
for
are
this
people-
Yes, is exactly that. It is the
YouTube,
uniboob.
there's a YouTube channel by a guy named Vatividya who does crazy breakdowns for like all the Dark Souls, all the Demon Souls, all the Bloodborne.
He does all the lore.
all the everything, all the lore. And when the first trailer for Sekiro was shown, before we knew what Sekiro was, before we even knew the name, he basically took that one trailer of like the weird arm and like the kanji and extrapolated pretty much what the entire game was going to be.
Yeah.
Cool.
And he has videos for this on Elden Ring, and I cannot wait to watch them.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be like, so this is what the game's about. I've already figured it out. I hope you guys subscribe to my
I'm
Patreon.
excited about it. It looks fun.
It looks cool.
Elite Controller Series 2.
Yeah, new Elite controller. Okay, I am not satisfied with my first Elite controller from
Yeah,
Microsoft.
I like
but
my
this one
Elite.
looks better.
All right, so everything that I wanted to change in mine, this fixes almost everything. I wanted more faster responsive
I understand
buttons.
it didn't have a flashlight in it.
No, it's more. It's faster response buttons. I went to more like mouse clicks because
Yeah.
my Razer had very fast buttons.
Right.
For the A, B, X, Ys.
Tension on the sticks.
The tension on the sticks. That's what I
adjustable.
wanted. I wanted because I like more tension. It's too loose on the current. Even
Agreed.
all of the Xbox One
Yeah.
controllers are too loose. the putting the controller, the trigger
I feel like we're still talking
to
about flashlights.
putting the trigger to a even smaller number because I
Yeah.
have mine set to I
A
think
3-stage trigger is amazing.
yeah no I want that set to the highest. I want to barely fucking tap the fucking trigger to do a
Yeah.
full shoot
For real.
because you can do that inside the program. Everything about this is what I want, and it's Bluetooth connectivity,
And
which-
it has a rechargeable
And a
battery.
rechargeable battery.
I've wasted so many AA batteries on my Xbox Elite controller.
I just bought a rechargeable battery years ago and I still use the same one.
Ugh.
But one of the things I'm interested about this is I believe this is actually going to be for the next console as well. Because it uses
think you're right, 'cause
Bluetooth.
it's Bluetooth.
It is Bluetooth enabled,
Yep.
and it also has the Microsoft frequency, whatever the fuck thing that they use
Mm-hmm.
internally. I believe that the new Elite controller will be the Elite controller for the next system. They might come with a 3 at the same time, but this one I feel that they're going to be like, no, if you have one of our Xbox One with Bluetooths, or
Yeah.
if you have one of Xbox Elite with Bluetooths,
Yeah.
it immediately connects in.
Yeah.
Because look at it. The controllers have
No, no,
changed.
here's
but they're
here's
not
why
adding in fucking stupid touch screen bullshit to the middle of the fucking
you say
or
that
giant
the
fucking do button.
PlayStation 4 controller is still better than an Xbox One controller.
I
will
hate
fight
the
anyone who
PlayStation 4
says
controller.
otherwise.
It's got a big fucking button for no reason. It has triggers that still don't work fucking properly. It's
Those
analogs.
triggers work great. They work great for every game I've played on it. I know what's
Again,
wrong with
I
the
want,
fingers.
I want to have this smaller. It's the smaller backstop, and I have mine set to a way smaller percentage. And I've had that since I've had my Razer Wildcat. I play first person shooters.
Right.
That full trigger pull is wasting my fucking time.
So here's why I believe you on why it's going to be the next gen controller, because I read an article today that said like your Xbox One controllers will work on the project Veronica, what's it called, Scorpio, Scarlet.
Scarlet.
Scarlet. They always have other names.
Scorpio was the X.
I don't know why I started with Veronica.
Scarlet. The S titles are always their high end ones.
It's
and then
because
they
I
have
love
a
Camila
low...
Mendes.
Okay, that works.
So we talked about Battletoads. Microsoft Flight Simulator was there.
And it was
Holy
beautiful.
shit!
was
I didn't
gorgeous.
even realize it was a game at first. I just thought they were showing fucking
It was just like,
planes
why
and
are you
airports.
just showing footage from outside of airplane windows? And it's just like, no, all
No,
that's real.
that's the game, and you're like, oh
Yeah.
fuck.
It is another one of those games that I'm willing to say it's not for me.
Yeah, no,
but good God, is that game beautiful?
I-
Yeah, no,
couldn't
I am
care
not a
less.
flight sim person.
Right.
But if you want to play a flight sim,
That is
you
the
play
one.
That's the
Microsoft
one.
Flight Simulator.
Right.
And you
Like-
have for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, does that
Other
game
games
look
that
good?
are not for me was Forza, but man, this is the
Whenever they
first
showed,
time.
when they showed Lego Forza,
This was the
Oh,
first
Lego
time
Forza? Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
Forza show up at fucking E3, and I'm like, here's the Forza
They
segment.
even played Everything is Awesome rap battle over the Forza, like,
Well,
Lego
see,
car.
the thing is,
coming over the
I can
hill.
guarantee all three of us got pissed when they showed that off because it started with the
When it started with the car, I was done.
We're lifting off a thing and we're going to show you a car, and you're like, oh fuck, it's a car, and they immediately cut to the trailer, and you watch, and you're like, cool, okay, awesome, Lego, fuck yeah, and then they show the car again, you're like, oh fuck, that's a McLaren made out of fucking Legos.
It's a McLaren
Yeah.
made out of Legos. Okay.
That's way cooler than just showing a McLaren.
I sat there and I was like, that's neat. I still don't want to play Forza, but, like, I'm not as angry as I was 10 seconds ago. So this is fine.
I think they did that on purpose. They did
They
it publicly
did.
because they knew that everybody hates it when we show a car off on
I'm
stage.
sure they got 100,000 tweets.
Yeah,
about
like when
the
they did
car
the
2
Porsche,
years
when they did the
ago.
Porsche, and they're like, "Oh fuck that was a piece of shit."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, but we're gonna make it out of Lego." Watch everybody go, "Okay, well it's Lego, so
It's
we
Lego.
immediately love it."
You literally can't be mad at Legos.
yeah,
Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. It's gonna be right.
that
on.
looks.
Yeah!
You're actually playing.
It's an
the
action
story.
It's an action RPG.
yeah.
Yeah, which I don't. Well, you know what? I kind of understand it because there's a lot of Japanese Naruto games that are just action RPGs where it's mostly just a fighting game, but also you're
Right.
playing the story.
But you walk around a bit.
Yeah, you walk around a bit, but it's a fighting game.
I'm
Yeah.
not a Dragon Ball fan,
But it seems like that.
but it seems like it could be fun. I guess.
I do agree with Brooklyn in chat. Like, we've already done this storyline. It was already. It's in how many of this fucking series do we fucking need this?
Yeah.
I mean,
If
I
it's
don't-
fun to play, sure.
Maybe
but
look, if I cared more about the story of Dragon Ball Z, I'd be right there with you. It's
I
probably
just can't give a fuck about Dragon Ball.
It's probably
Game or show, I just can't
there's
give a
an
fuck.
entire generation of Americans who that was the only anime they had access to, and they loved it. So I have nothing against Dragon Ball. I think it's great. I'm sure all the lore is fantastic, no matter how long it took to watch people charging up over how many episodes.
Right.
But and I appreciate them getting this in video game form. That being said, I don't care. Dragon Ball Fighter Z is better.
Okay.
It feels that power fantasy though.
It does.
That's the one thing about Dragon Ball,
Sure.
especially in the video games,
Yeah.
is there was the power fantasy of the show, and the video games have been over time adding that element to where you really feel like it, and this feels like the culmination of that power fantasy.
I don't know.
It feels
felt-
pretty good.
You,
Dragon Ball Fighter Z was a fucking
if I didn't
culmination.
know
of
And
that,
I think this
shit.
is actually surpassing that on power fantasy
maybe.
specifically.
if I didn't know that it was a video game, I thought I was literally just watching an episode of the anime.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
that's how good they've made those games look.
Yeah.
Fighter Z looked like that. I was like,
Yeah.
this is the fucking show, and
It
then this
just
one was
looked
like,
like
this is
movie anime.
definitely just the fucking show.
Yeah.
Phantasy Star Online was finally announced for the U.S. coming to Xbox One.
You
and
really want us to
PC.
cheer this, don't
James,
you?
You
You
don't
want us
have to
to be.
cheer. You don't have to cheer shit.
James,
all right?
tell us about Fantasy Star Online. What's that
Why
about?
don't
Actually,
you,
I have to pee. Go
Why don't
ahead.
you
Yeah, you pee while he talks.
explain what happened when this came up?
So we're sitting there, relatively inebriated, watching the Microsoft conference. And videos are coming up, at their normal pace. And then one comes up, and I see the back of something. And I think I said this out loud. I was like, is that Fantasy Star? And I hear James go, "You motherfuckers! You motherfuckers! Did you do it finally?" And he takes the notebook he's been keeping notes with and threw it across my living room. That's how long he's been waiting for Phantasy Star Online 2 to come to the United States, much less to console.
Yeah, I mean 2012. 2012 was when it was originally announced, and the fact that they're bringing it out, it's coming to Xbox, it's PC, it's got cross play on
Yeah.
it. So it's not going to be console restrictive. All the content from the past is going to be completely in the game. It's a game that I've wanted for so long that I can't even fathom. My brain doesn't process. That it's coming out.
You're probably up until the point where you hit start when the game's already installed and ready to
Right.
go. You won't be ready for it.
And honestly, because I am on the PSO2 Facebook page,
Yeah.
they did post today. I was going out to grab a cigarette on break, and it said something like, "I know that you saw the announcement on during E3, but we have no new news at this time. As soon as we get some more news, we'll let you know."
Right.
And we're really sorry. And I'm like, "Yeah, that about checks out. I've waited.
That sounds about-
I've waited this long for it. We might as well just push that data.
Oh,
that info
no
back
new
longer."
news sounds like Phantasy Star to me.
Yeah. So I'll get to it eventually, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm excited about it when it finally gets
So
here.
I think for me, that's my favorite thing about the Xbox conference. You got to have something shown off that you've been wanting for a very long time.
Yes.
I got to have that same thing with Halo Infinite. Something I've been wanting for a very long time. Microsoft made made both of us very happy. We're like,
well-
yes, this is the things that we want.
Before we
but
get
they
to
gave
Halo
you-
Infinite,
They gave you a timeline on yours.
yeah, before we get to
Yeah.
Halo Infinite, I have a couple of indies that they shouted out that looked incredible.
There were some really cool indie titles
So
they showed
the
off.
first one that me and James were sitting there going, "God, this looks incredible," was Spiritfarer. It was the one with a girl on a boat, and the boat keeps growing because
Yeah.
she keeps growing her thing.
That looked fun.
That looked beautiful. There was one called El Hijo, which was
Is that the deer one?
no,
Okay.
the deer one's coming.
Okay.
Which hopefully never happens in El Hijo, because El Hijo is a story of a little Mexican boy in a spaghetti western setting trying to escape a monastery.
Cool.
That's dark.
Cool / hard cry.
Yeah.
But
I'm on board for this.
but the game looked really cool. The Deer God one, which Deer God, but it was Deer God. It was a deer with
deer with the
glowing
horns and-
antlers.
But not the Deer God game, which is completely different.
No,
Yeah.
and not anything having to do with the Miyazaki movie Spirited Away. Not was it, no. How's move? No,
Spirited Away.
Princess Mononoke.
Princess
yes.
Mononoke, yes.
Thank
there
you,
you go.
Mononoke
We had to
Hime.
go through which one?
Right. It was nothing to do with Mononoke.
This is
Hime.
like a post-apocalyptic
The game
deer game.
was called Into the Woods, and it's basically you're a deer and animals follow you. I really didn't
In
get what the game was about.
in a post-apocalyptic future where you have radiated deer horns that could do magical shit with fucking ghost fish, and
Right.
I don't know what the fuck's going on, but I fucking want to
But
play
the
it.
game looked super cool. Another thing we haven't talked about
No.
yet.
You have to tell them what your opinion of this game was when we saw the trailer for this.
I said I don't want to play this game. I want to get really high and watch someone else play this game while I watch.
yeah.
All
And
right,
I
we can do
cannot
that.
think of
We
a
can do
better
that.
way to experience
We
this
could
game.
just stream it to Twitch while we do it.
Oh man, just stream like the game and like my face.
Your face, and I'll play it. So that was pretty good. They showed Ori and Will of the Wisps. That was pretty
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah, no, we
Oh
got-
yeah, the new Ori game. I played
which
Ori.
we had shown last year, and this year was obviously more information.
Now
and-
there's just way more horrifying spider monsters.
oh god, yes.
But Ori and the Blind Forest, what I said to James when they were showing the trailer for part 2 is because it came out before Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is the best Metroidvania probably to ever exist. Period. But before that, Ori and the Blind Forest was the best Metroidvania I had ever played. And I've gone all the way back to Symphony of the Night and even all the way back into Metroid.
Obviously, you didn't play Guacamelee.
I love Guacamelee. Guacamelee is amazing, but I feel like Guacamelee is a little bit more of a platformer.
Okay, I can see that.
That being said, Ori and the Blind Forest was a very emotional journey. Like, I cried multiple times during the story, and it's a Metroidvania. Like, how often do you get that? It's an amazing game.
and the art style is just fucking to die for.
Yes, and I cannot wait for part 2.
The world that they created in Ori and the Blind Forest doesn't deserve Ori, like the game that they like. It's like you did a Metroidvania,
Yeah.
and you did put that in that. Why would you do that?
And like, not to put too much pomp and circumstance on it, but the world of Ori and the Blind Forest feels a little bit almost like a Dark Crystal. Like, they created such an incredible world and they gave us such a small slice of it, and I need more.
Right.
And so,
everybody's been clamoring for more and
Yeah.
more of it because of the gameplay itself is just hands down just perfect.
Yeah.
And the world they created is so interesting and so unique and so fun and it's just hopeful.
Yeah, it's a wonderful game.
We have Bleeding Edge. That was a new game from Ninja Theory.
Bleeding Edge is the one I wanted to ask Brooklyn about because he was there at E3, but it's a 4-player melee based like red versus blue
It's 4v4, yeah.
fighting game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I don't even know
Is
what
it-
to think about
I don't
it.
know.
But it's Ninja Theory, so
Yeah,
it'll probably be
it's
really
Ninja
cool.
Theory, which makes
And
cool shit.
And first of all, they named their game Bleeding Edge, which, come on, fuck you.
That was-
But, you know,
guys, can we talk about
Is it
fucking-
coming out on Scarlet?
Can we talk about Blair Witch for a minute, though?
we talk about
Oh
Blair Witch.
God, Blair Witch when they first started showing that, I immediately went, "Oh fuck, there's a new horror game. I don't know what the fuck it is." And then it got to the very end,
Yeah.
and you see the symbol, you're like, "It's fucking Blair Witch a video game."
If anyone on
I was
Twitch,
way too excited.
If anyone on Twitch or out there in the podcast world, if you want to respond to us on Facebook, can tell me they didn't think when they saw this trailer that this game was Outlast 3, I might eat a hat. Because the whole time it's like first person perspective, wobbly camera, camcorder, so that you can see in the dark and record things. I thought
And replay the
I
past.
100% thought it was Outlast 3.
I actually only had my suspicion when they showed the tree in the trailer. I saw the tree and I was like, "Is this a Blair Witch game?" Because I had commented earlier about how janky the camera was and
Yeah.
like how it was kind of nauseating, and I was like, "God, that's horrible. This doesn't look good." And then I saw the tree and I'm like, "Wait a second, is this a fucking Blair Witch game?" And then the camera pulls back to
Yeah.
the forest. I'm like,
Like
"Fuck,
honestly,
it is."
I'm a little bit mad at myself for not picking up the specific dates and on the radio
Right.
saying like
Yeah.
3 people are lost in the woods while filming, and
I
he's
felt
like
the same
cuts.
way,
He's like,
'cause-
why didn't I pick all this
I
up
felt the same way because the whole
immediately?
time I was thinking Outlast 3 so hard that when it panned out and I saw even just the iconography, it wasn't until they said Blair Witch and James next to me was like, "This is a Blair Witch game," that I was like, "Oh shit, it is."
You know,
I never would have gotten there.
I was going. This is a new horror franchise.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that maybe we've had Blair Witch games before.
No,
I
we
can't remember.
haven't. In fact, I turned
Never
to
had
Hector.
one.
I turned to Hector
I was
right
like, I don't
afterwards,
remember.
and I looked at Hector and I said, "I can't believe we've gone this long without somebody."
I feel like we
Yeah,
had like an
Blair Witch
announcement
game.
for one that never happened.
I googled it. We don't have any Blair
Yeah.
Witch games, and maybe there was one announced way back in the past, but it's
I mean,
barely,
like way back, like this is original Xbox, like
but it
PS2
never came out.
but it's
days.
barely even.
It's like the
Googleable.
Hellraiser
Like,
NES game.
Yeah, it
there's
doesn't
a
exist.
prototype, but it doesn't.
Yeah, like I
exist.
believe there was one announced and it never came to fruition.
Right.
And this was like not Dreamcast, fucking GameCube era.
Yeah.
And like that's when it came out, like was announced, but nothing ever happened. But this, holy shit, a new survival horror game coming out
Yeah.
based on a property that you fucking forgot about.
Oh, yeah.
I watched the most recent movie. I fucking loved it.
Honestly, Blair Witch 2 always lives on in my
Yeah,
heart.
I still
Blair
love Blair
Witch
Witch
2.
2. It's not a good
Yeah.
movie, but I like it.
So our big
And that's actually what Brooklyn brought up. I was like, I want to play this in VR.
Yeah.
I fucking want
Oh,
to.
yeah.
Like, I weirdly am like,
It'd be weird if they didn't have
I
a
want to play
VR.
horror games in VR.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the best type
I
of game
agree.
to play.
So we need to talk a little bit about
Immersion.
Game Pass. Is there anything else you want to touch on? Because it's our last big topic. Is
Let
there
me
anything
make sure-
Anything that I missed?
Let me make sure. I'm gonna
Well, I mean,
check-
aside from Halo Infinite,
You know what we haven't talked about yet?
which
is-
we didn't talk about with Scarlet. Which Scarlet, we got a holiday 2020 release date.
Right.
We don't have a full name because they're calling it Project Scarlet, but they did that with fucking
It'll
Project
be
Scorpio.
the Xbox One X1.
Yeah, sure, that's fine. I don't care. Name it whatever the
Right.
fuck you want. I'm still gonna probably call it
Right.
Scarlet.
There's a game we still haven't talked about before we move into the end here.
What's that?
I am surprised you haven't mentioned. Bloodlines 2. We got
Yeah.
a whole new section of gameplay. We got actual gameplay.
Yeah, we did. We got to see. So I didn't put a whole bunch of the PC stuff in here, but we did see Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2. And I am going to say something that I'm going to hate myself for saying.
We'll see when it comes out.
I hope that Bloodlines 2 comes out before Cyberpunk 2077.
I think it is. I think they
It
said
has to, otherwise they're shooting themselves in the
The
fucking
reason
foot.
I say this is that, yes, while I prefer Vampire the Masquerade in terms of a tabletop RPG and a LARP system and all that
Oh,
good
it's
stuff.
it's far
Oh
superior.
yeah,
as a
no.
si-
In my
a
notes, I
gaming
wrote down
system.
Q1 2020.
Right.
Q1 2020 is
right.
what Vampire said.
But when you look at the graphical fidelity of Bloodlines versus Cyberpunk, it'll be easy for me to play Bloodlines
For sure.
and then go play Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It might be a little bit harder for me to go the other way.
Right, and we'll talk about more about Cyberpunk when we talk about Halo here in a second.
Well,
But,
if we need to talk about Halo, let's knock that out now because then we got to jump into Game Pass and all that.
so
Yeah, no, Halo Infinite got announced with the.
Well,
It is
they-
a launch title
so-
for Project Scarlet.
here's what they did. They announced Halo Infinite as a launch title for Project Scarlet. And then they showed what they said was in-engine footage of Halo Infinite.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not look even remotely as good as Cyberpunk 2077. And we're talking about a next-generation console game right now. That was my biggest take. Not that I can't wait to play the next Halo. I love Halo as
Dude,
a franchise.
his face looked like a fucking. It was the same thing. Like that was that dude's
It
face.
wasn't the same.
I mean, I feel
put them
that-
side by side and look again. It wasn't the same.
And I don't think the Cyberpunk one was running in engine on a console.
It was running an engine. I don't know about on a console. It was definitely.
It was running on
an
a
engine.
faster graphics card with faster capabilities than what
for
that
sure,
was
for sure
for a console release.
But better than but better than Project Scarlet. Why even show the trailer?
I mean, all right. So one of the problems that they have with if you're going to show off Cyberpunk, which is a game that
Right.
isn't owned by Microsoft,
And it's not-
they
yeah.
have the option of showing it as whatever high fidelity that they want.
Yeah, and they
So
were
if
showing
wanna
like
show
ray
it-
traced like 4K screenshots. So
which
that was
we
probably
know-
what we saw.
Yeah, that we're showing the highest end, the highest end, and the highest end. This is a PC that would cost
Right.
tens of like at least $10,000 to make it look this
Right,
way.
but-
that's the footage that they're showing, and Microsoft's going, "This is from the console that we
Right.
are making,"
And I know-
there is a price difference. 10,000 versus probably $400.
And I know why we're there, and I know why they did that, and I'm glad that they showed. Here's the point that I'm trying to make, though. We saw a face and a Master Chief and some Mjolnir armor rendered in an engine that's going to be running on Project Scarlet.
Right, inside
And
a Pelican,
You know what? It
in
looked,
space.
Yes, and you know what? It looked pretty fucking good. It
yeah, and for a
really
very
did.
small location, for something that's smaller than this apartment,
Right.
it looked really good.
It looked good, but if you were gonna show some Halo versus some CD Projekt Red, wouldn't you not just have two guys talking to each other for your entire trailer? There was no action in that trailer. There was no Halo in that
No,
trailer.
but
So why
They gave
show
us
that
the-
trailer at all? Why show that?
I get it.
fucking
They didn't
trailer?
show us any action.
They
in
showed
it.
us. It's an action. It's a first-person shooter.
It's also a ginormous, entire lore-heavy world.
It's
and
not.
We did not
when
know-
you're playing the game.
that
When
we
you're playing
didn't-
the game, you have a gun.
So
and
if you
shoot
if you
things.
played the rest of them, which I know you haven't, because you're waiting on the Master Chief Collection coming on PC.
I've
you
played
don't
every
know-
Halo game before Reach.
You don't know where Master Chief last left off at.
Right, no,
you
no,
literally
no.
know Cortana's not there, and
That
he's
doesn't matter.
dead floating in space.
That has nothing to do with
So
what
this
I'm
is
talking
the
about.
where is he coming into, and this is them adding a story element to go.
Right.
This is where the story's going forward.
Right, but if you're gonna show your game next to Cyberpunk and Cyberpunk's gonna look way better, wouldn't you show a little bit of what makes your game fun?
You're all right. So all you're
Wouldn't
saying
you
is
show what
like,
makes your game
wouldn't
fun?
you not show your girlfriend porn because that guy's got a 12-inch dick? Like,
No.
look at his 12-inch dick. It's amazing. I've only got like 4.5, but that's what you're gonna get tonight.
Tony,
but
that's a really stupid comparison.
it's
and
literally
you're
the same
embarrassing
comparison.
yourself.
It's going, this one looks so good, and this one looks so bad.
It's not about which one looks better. It's about talking about the strengths of each one.
You-
we
you-
didn't see
your
any.
entire thing gets boiled down to one looks amazing and one didn't look as amazing.
No, it doesn't, because you know what? If they had showed me some Halo Infinite game, just shooting, just a gun,
They are super not going to do that.
just a,
2
just
years
a
out.
gun shooting at a thing, I would have been more excited. Instead, the entire time, all I could think of was, "Wow, this looks really good. Wait, this is next gen console." Yet Cyberpunk looked better. That's
Yeah,
all.
Cyberpunk did look
and
better
you know
on
what?
a much more expensive
And you
system.
know what? I wouldn't never have had that thought if they had shown us what the Halo experience is like from minute to minute in the new engine.
Okay,
And maybe
next
they couldn't.
Next year, you
And
will
may-
get that
right,
because
and-
that will be the.
And
We're
I know you're-
actually going to show
I know
you what you're going to
defending it
play in
because you
Halo.
have to. But what I'm saying
Also, just like playing
is-
devil's advocate.
What I'm saying is they probably shouldn't have shown that trailer when they did, because it didn't make me feel good about the game. And
Honestly-
it could have, because I'm a Halo fan.
If they had done it in a different order, honestly, I think it would
True.
have had a bigger
I
impact.
think
Yeah, but they can't end their
had
conference
they
with Halo-
had they
with
shown
Cyberpunk.
not Cyberpunk, had they shown the Project Scarlet stupid video that we all fucking hated, and then said it's coming out in holiday 2020 and we have one more thing for you, and they show that, and then the last thing is they don't even come out on stage and say it, it just goes black text and says
Right.
launch title
Right.
for Project Scarlet.
that's what I was gonna
And
say.
That is
Yeah.
the throwing your dick on. That would that have been better?
It would have been, and then you know what? And the thing that we probably learned the most this E3 is it's all about how you say it, because the Avengers game at Square Enix landed with such a fucking thud for how big of an announcement that should have
Yeah.
been. That game needed more pomp and more circumstance.
It literally felt like a dead fish got thrown in front of
Because
me. I
it's-
was like, cool, I guess that's a thing
because
you
it's a
made.
big deal. No, they threw a dead fish in front of you, and you thought, I kind of want to eat that, because it's
Like, if we
the
fry it up,
Avengers
maybe
game.
it'll be better.
Because it's the Avengers game, and I honestly can't wait to play this Avengers game. But the way
But
they
it was a dead fish.
The way they showed it to us was like, I'm just not in the hype train at this moment, and I'm not about to get on. And that's how I felt about Halo Infinite.
I honestly
the
feel
way
like
they showed
for
it.
Halo Infinite, it felt very unpolished. That being said, I really think they could have done more impact if they had just said, and not even shown a trailer, like just say Project Scarlet,
Yeah.
launch date, Halo 1 is a launch title.
Yeah.
And then basically that says next year's E3. And we'll come back to this argument a little bit about
Yeah.
all of E3 as we wrap everything
Sure,
up.
sure.
But it felt like that should have just been a wait till next year, you're going to see it all. So real quick, we just have to knock out the Xbox Game Pass and
Yeah.
the Xbox Game Pass for PC.
Yeah.
What are the facts? The facts are these. Throw them out there.
I don't have them in front of me.
Okay,
Y'all
so-
with extra screens.
no,
I'm the one
I
with
have it.
extra computing shit with doing this live show.
No, I have all the Xbox Game Pass things in my head because
All right, so this is it's an Xbox Live membership along with other stuff. I don't know what the other stuff is.
So there's a Game Pass for PC, which I bought because it's $1 right now, and if anybody who listening to this doesn't buy it, you're an idiot.
Honestly, do you want to play Metro? Was it Metro Exodus?
Metro
right?
Exodus.
For $1.
Yeah.
I'm
And I
playing Metro Exodus for a fucking $1.
And I'm playing-
That's just fucking good investment.
I'm playing Metro Exodus for $1 when it's an Epic Store exclusive, and I'm playing it off of my Xbox Game Pass without having Epic installed in my PC.
You just made even more reasons to have this.
Exactly. And so not only
Not Epic.
not only is it $1 this month because it's a beta and they're trying to get as many people to adopt it as possible, which I agree with, but it's $4.99 a month in the future for PC. They put out a bundle that's $15 a month
15
for the entire pass for Xbox plus the entire pass for PC plus
Xbox Gold.
all of
And
Xbox
Xbox
Gold and all of the benefits.
Yeah,
that
we
you
did
get
the
from
we did a
that.
quick version of the math on it, and there is a massive amount of savings you're
Yeah.
actually getting on this.
It's huge. This is This is a way better deal than the EA Origin deal I've been talking about for months. This is a way better deal, especially if you own an Xbox. And if you just own a PC, it's still too good of a deal to pass up.
Yeah.
Today I played Moonlighter. Just on a PC because I had my Xbox Game Pass set up. And I don't own that game. I never owned that game, and it was on my wish list, but now I just have it. And I have it for $1, along with the latest Tomb Raider game, the latest Metro Exodus game, and that weird game that Microsoft put out as an exclusive called Recore that I wanted to play but never did.
Yeah, it was a weird game.
Yeah, I can't wait to try that out. And maybe it's bad, but you know what? It's $1.
Do you know what you're going to also get with your $5 subscription in a few months?
The Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, fucking Halo
I'm gonna
Reach
get Halo
and
Reach.
every fucking other Halo
And I'm
game.
going to be able to play you in Halo Reach on your Xbox or on your PC, however
Yeah.
you want to do it. That's amazing.
We can play that story together. We can go in there and
I've never
fucking,
played it before.
And I get to experience your first time playing some of the best Halo games.
Exactly.
At the fastest fucking, like, honestly, as a person who's loved the Master Chief Collection
Yeah.
since it came out, even with all its fucking flaws, the up-res version of these games still look fucking amazing.
Yeah, we can play it. Yeah, we play it on the fast frame rates at super high resolutions because they're older games and they'll look incredible. And we can just experience them all like hassle free.
Yeah. Honestly, it's
a great deal.
It's the best deal out of all of
It
the
is.
deal stuff that we got shown.
It really is.
Out
It's
of all
better
the,
than
like,
Ubisoft. It's better than EA. It's better than a Humble Bundle. If I'm being honest, it's
Humble Bundle goes to charity, so it's not completely
okay,
bad.
so there's nothing wrong
And
with
that's
the
a per
Humble
monthly
Bundle.
thing, whatever.
Humble Bundle is great, but usually on your Humble Bundle monthly subscription, it's
you're
$15
getting-
a month,
and you're
you
getting
get
fucked
like
out of at least a couple of games.
you
Like,
get
I
like
don't want that at
6
all.
indie games, and 5 of them you've never heard of and are bad. But you get like one really good indie game and one like decent AAA game that came out in the last like couple months.
Yeah.
It's a good deal, or at least it was until this came out.
Yeah.
They
no.
might have to step up the game.
Okay, so we have gone through a lot of E3 today. Oh my God, we are like the most passionate people about E3.
Yeah.
So we need to kind of put our final thoughts on the table now that we've discussed everything. What are your wrapping up impressions of E3?
Sorry, we're an hour and a half in. I have to click stop and save.
That's
Okay,
fine.
That's fine. This is only going to be like a couple minute segment.
That's right.
I don't care.
While
It's in
you-
case the power goes out and we lose an hour and a half of the fucking
Yeah,
show.
while you save, I really still have to pee.
Like, I need to, like, we're going longer than we normally do.
Yes.
Like, I need to feed dog.
I know we're about to wrap
Yeah,
up.
we're about to be done, but I was like, just give me like 2 seconds to fucking save the file. You just can't do that while live.
I mean, you could literally just be like, "I liked it. Done." That's my final thought about E3. It was good. I stroked Microsoft.
No, I mean, I have my ideas. I mean, obviously, I'm a Microsoft fanboy. That is a thing. I like
Right.
the underdog aspect of
I
them.
don't think they can be called that anymore.
Compared to Sony and every giant fucking Sony fanboy, you don't think Microsoft's still not the underdog?
I
With
think
everybody going like console exclusives are the only thing that's important.
I think this E3.
All right, we'll wait for it at the end. We'll wait to talk about it. Like, I think that like we'll just internalize our thoughts. We'll just stare at the camera blankly.
Yeah.
Everybody will think we're paused and just give them sultry eyes. Just give me them fat face at this point. I
I'm
don't
not saying that Microsoft is like the most popular console in the world. What I'm saying is that
Super not.
they are.
That is actually Nintendo.
They were the underdog, like the super underdogs, but I feel like they are making genuine strides and genuine progress.
Once Phil came in and fixed them,
Yeah.
the Xbox One has done nothing but get better every single year that he's been involved.
All right, let's go ahead and record and get this knocked out.
Do it. Oh no, I missed some stuff in chat.
Wait for you to stop laughing.
All right, gents, this is it. Final thoughts on E3. Tony, why don't we start with you?
I overall really enjoyed this E3. It feels like a stopgap E3, but I really enjoyed it. We got to see some great games that are finally coming to the West. From
Many games actually just having dates on them.
a lot of games just having dates. A lot of them within this year or in the next couple months.
Yeah.
Coming out, which is something that most E3s we never get. Nintendo giving me fucking reasons to buy a Switch as a
Yeah.
person who didn't ever want one. I'm like,
For real.
fuck, that's a big fucking deal to me.
Yeah.
I want to buy this.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been it was for me it felt like a great year for Microsoft. Everything they showed off was really fucking cool with some gaffs. I mean,
Sure.
fuck, Game of Thrones had fucking
Every E3
Starbucks bottles and fucking water bottles in it.
Every
I think
E3
fucking forgetting an
conference has
SSD as a
gaffs.
solid state drive is
Yeah.
a fucking fine.
It's okay.
Who cares? I don't really.
It is
it's,
a fine.
It's fine.
It's something we can meme about for 5 seconds, but no one's really going to give a fuck
Yeah.
about in the long run, right?
No one will remember next year.
Yeah, no one gives a fuck. This is a year it felt like we're looking towards the next generation. Right now we're getting the cell phone shit is got to fucking end next year. It was really cool that Square Enix had a bunch of their old games coming to cell phones. It was fine that Bethesda thinks for some reason we only want to play cell phone games. but can we fucking not next year? Next year needs to be about look at PC gaming and look at console gaming. This is the fucking future. Not this game is going to be available and how we can monetize it to fucking make loot boxes to steal your shit. Fuck you. Stop making my fucking cell phone games at E3. There were cool things about it. But maybe we don't fucking do that, all right? That's my anger moment was too much fucking cell phone.
Right.
Too much fucking cell phone.
I feel you.
And it's definitely looking forward to next year's E3. Next year's E3, we got so much of just right now, but this is like the end of life. It's like the death
It
throes
is.
of all these things. We're like, this is what we're going to puke out at the very end so everybody can enjoy it right now, but next one's going to be the good one.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like. And overall, stupidly excited from all of this shit. Even fucking EA's bad fucking 4 hour fucking, was it 4 hours?
You said it's 3 hours. And they showed like 4 games.
3 hours in 4 games,
Yes.
fucking. But there was some cool shit involved.
I cleaned most of my apartment during that time while I had it
The
on the
apartment's
background.
clean. It
Yeah,
looks
no.
clean.
Whenever you were like, "Cool, I don't care about this game. I'm gonna vacuum for 30 minutes." Something's wrong with your fucking conference. Okay,
Yep.
you're not
No lie.
holding our interest whatsoever.
Hector, what about you?
All right. I think final thoughts for this year is kind of what I said at the beginning. It felt a lot like a leap year. It felt like a lot of people were showing, like Tony said earlier, stuff that they can show that'll come out in the next 14 to 16 months.
Yeah.
And after that, we have no use for you. So it really overall felt like people were holding
That
back.
holiday 2020, you
Yeah.
can't show us anything past holiday 2020.
It felt like people were really holding back, and I'm not mad.
I was gonna
at
say
it.
I'm not mad at that because that's the thing we always complain about every year at E3 is like, oh, well, all you showed this year was games that are coming out 3 years from now.
We're seeing next-gen graphics
whereas
for 6
this,
years.
So
and
this
like, cool,
year
I'll never
we
see
got
that.
games that are coming out this fucking year.
So here's why I'm not mad about it. And the only thing that I was really mad about that me and Tony talked about was how good Cyberpunk 2077 looked. And I remember having this feeling right before the PS4 came out when they showed Batman Arkham Knight running on the PlayStation 4 and not the PlayStation 3. And this was right before the PlayStation 4 life cycle began. And the graphical fidelity of that game looked so incredible compared to anything we had in the console life before. Better than Last of Us, better than any Uncharted, better than anything that came out on 360. That game looked light years ahead of those games. And it was because it was running on new console hardware. And I feel like next year we're going to see basically the exact same thing and think, what the fuck were we doing with our consoles for like 5 years? Why couldn't we have this? And we all know why. It's all about the hardware. Right. And even PC games will get exponentially better next year because now they don't have to think about running on such low hardware.
They'll have 16 cores.
Exactly.
Dude, this is something we didn't talk about. AMD already did the CES thing recently, and then they showed up again at E3 and threw more fucking AMD dick on the table.
Yeah.
So what I think about this E3 is it was a great year for indies. We got a lot of really, really interesting indie games. I'll tell you who won. I mean, Microsoft actually sold me something already. Nintendo may have potentially sold me a Switch. And I got an Xbox Game Pass. I'm probably not going to get a Ubisoft Play Pass any time in the future.
Yeah.
I see no reason to buy an Xbox One for any reason. I didn't get sold a lot of stuff, but I got sold a few things.
Did you get sold the new controller?
I'm not sold a new controller yet.
If they say it works on the next gen, I'm super sold on.
I might be. Well, we'll see. I need reviews before I'm sold on the controller. I'm still not even completely sold on the Stadia, but I feel like overall it was a pretty good E3, and my biggest takeaway is Keanu Reeves.
All right.
Keanu Reeves is an amazing person.
Keanu Reeves is the best
Honestly,
person.
so a lot of my E3 was decided that first day that you and I sat on the couch and
Yeah.
we got through the conferences together. When finally you arrived late, Tony.
Well,
to the
you and I
show.
started with watching the Star Wars one. We sat on the couch.
Yeah.
I watched the 15 minutes of Star Wars play and went, cool, and then just walked away and never paid
Right.
back attention
But,
again.
like that Sunday was really the big day for us. And I thought about it in the car, and I was thinking about it in terms of just the E3 experience, which is the three of us in a room, eating pizza, having some drinks, smoking some stuff, calling it. And then at the very end of it, I was like, when I'm in the middle of those moments and I'm having fun with y'all, I was really having a really fun E3.
I feel like that's how E3 needs to be experienced.
And then my
I really wish we had live videoed our Bethesda part, because that was just us screaming at the TV.
we were hilarious.
we would have
We
been
were very
when that was
good.
on.
probably would have been banned from Twitch for that.
We didn't go near a bathroom.
We actually did get a request to live stream us watching E3. So maybe next year.
Maybe next year.
If you guys want it bad enough,
We'll bring a
do it.
webcam to my
Maybe
place.
we'll go to E3 next year. Please go to patreon.com/thesurlynerd and give us money so we can go do that.
My takeaway really was in the moments that happened afterwards. I said goodbye to you. I had work in the morning. I went home.
Yeah.
And I'm driving home, and my excitement started to fade. I was
As it
sitting there.
happens.
I was sitting there thinking about it. I was in my post-coital E3 phase, and I was like, I saw some things in there that I loved, but I feel like everything that I watched during E3 said, "This is great. Wait till next year."
Yeah.
That was how it felt every minute of E3 this year was,
Agreed.
This is great, but wait until you see what we have for you next year.
And I feel like that was exacerbated by Sony not being there.
Yeah, it was absolutely.
Yeah, I actually felt a little bit bad. Like I felt
I
something
feel
was
like
slightly amiss.
Even Microsoft fans, I feel like everyone really missed Sony being there.
I needed Sony to do something weird and dumb.
Yeah.
Like every time Sony does something at E3, they give us like a 15-minute intermission because they have to move fucking the audience to a
They
different
did
room.
that once. One year.
And then the year before that, they have to do this ridiculous stage fucking show where you actually have a screen on a screen on your screen, so the video game that you're seeing is really fucking tiny and you can't make out what's going on.
Yeah.
Like they have to do something stupid, some weird art school indie fucking filmmaking idea. So Microsoft seems like they're actually doing their fucking job because
that's
Sony's like over there fucking off in the weird indie fucking art videos.
Right, but that's why Sony PlayStation 4 has Dreams. And,
Yeah.
and Microsoft doesn't.
Sure. Well,
So-
anyway, that's the reason why.
Dreams exist.
That is everything that we have for the show this week. This was our giant E3 29 blowout.
This is one of our longest episodes we've
Thank
had in
you.
a
It really
fucking
is.
long time.
well, E3 is always an intense
E3 is a
time
long
for
We
us.
honestly talked about a lot of games that we should not have talked about.
Yeah, well.
There was a bunch. The
I
thing
feel
is,
like- you know what?
But in
Well, the future
E3's
will tell, my
defense,
friend.
We had more games shown and that are coming out within the next like 14 months than like any E3 ever.
That's very true. Everyone was very game heavy this year. I mean, even without like, if Microsoft hadn't like announced like they always do at the beginning of their conference, like we got 64 games and 37 of them are exclusives. Like they didn't have to do that. They could have just showed us a bunch of games and let us count. But like I feel like everyone was just going game.
Hey,
game,
as an
game,
Xbox
game,
fanboy,
game.
I'm not good at counting.
It's fair.
We don't know how our consoles work. It was the original Xbox and
No.
then a 360.
So when-
where were the other
When you
ones?
count an Xbox, it goes 1 and then X and then 1 and then X.
All right, that is everything that we have for the show this week. We need to wrap this whole thing up. Thank you to our audience for sticking with us. Tony, where can they find us?
Facebook.com/thesurlynerd. Like, share with your friends. Twitter's at the Surly Nerd. You can do that on there. Facebook. Did I just say Facebook?
No,
I did.
you know, you're-
Facebook.com/Surly Nerd. Something /the Surly Nerd on everything. Info@thesurlynerd.com is our email address. You can email us. Info@thesurlynerd. I just fucking said that. Thesurlynerd.com is our website. There's a donate button. There's articles to read and shit like that. Patreon.com/surlynerd if you want to Patreon to the show. So far, we got 0 on that, so be the first.
Yeah,
If you want to do the thing that we have yet to update because I've been very bad about making them make additional content. We've got some changes coming around in the background for y'all. We're going to have some posts coming up with like choose your next name of things. So we've got that coming for the future. Some big changes are happening here. We've passed, 314
This
episodes?
is 314 on my
Wow.
dial.
Yeah, 314. So we're going to have to see what we're doing for Austin 316.
Yeah.
I don't know. Weirdly, I thought about this the other day. Austin, the city, did nothing on 316 because you think we would have done that for him.
Maybe we should like run around and like get some.
We're just
Austin
gonna be
footage.
we're gonna be
I don't know.
we're just gonna be stone cold. We're just gonna be stone cold the entire time. That's what's gonna
That's
happen.
All right, that's everything for the show this week. For Turn This is James.
James is a toady.
And you all are breathtaking.
Adventures, good night.
And good game. There we go. All right, I really need to
Thank you for
So
sticking
long.
with us. I have to pee so badly. We love you.
You could have gotten him to pee at any point during one of the many rants.
I forget which episode of ContraPoints it is, but at the end, she comes back out as a different character and goes, "Well, that was long." And that's
my God,
exactly
this
how
is-
I feel right now.
This was such a way too long. Honestly, we got
Thanks,
half.
Brooklyn, for hanging out
Yeah,
with us.
thank
the
you
whole
for staying
time.
through this. Like,
You
I don't
are
know
a
how the fuck
trooper.
are you on a layover or something? It's like, how in the fuck are you paying attention for this long?
Right, he's at LaGuardia just like, fuck, these guys just keep going. I have to get on an airplane.
Like, honestly, like it was about halfway through the Square Enix shit that I was about to be like, can you shut the fucking weeb talk up and fucking get to the ending already?
No, we can't. It's the
Because
whole
honestly,
point.
I was watching the chat during like Twitch during this Square Enix stuff.
Yeah.
And almost every comment was, shut the fucking weeb shit up and give us Avengers.
Well, that's just the internet.
I was like, that's repeatedly only thing I
Yes,
saw
because
over and over and over again.
And then the average 12-year-old has no idea how big weeb culture is. There's a reason Crunchyroll exists and has more
Yeah.
subscriptions than your average.
I mean, I have friends that are voice
Hulu or
actors that do all that
HBO
shit.
now or any of that.
Like, I get it, but god damn. All right,
I
we're
know.
done. We're canceling this shit. I need
Yeah.
to turn this off, feed the dog.
We are done. Thank
So,
you, Brooklyn,
dog,
especially you.
Stuck with us.
Brooklyn, you were breathtaking.
You leave at 3 a.m.
Thank you so much.
That's a late. That's a late. Have fun with that. All
Yeah,
right, we sign out. We got
do
things.
not miss your layover.